Hello and welcome back to the American Sushi Podcast, episode number 14. I am one of your hosts, Evan, and with me I've got my co-host too, Spooky aka Brandon.
Hey.
And today we've got a couple very, very special guests with us today. So, we have got, let's get the one out of the way, okay? Third time appearance, first ever third time guest. We've got the best basketball better and an even better person, the Dolphin Defender himself, Jordan, the anime dude YT. Welcome back, Jordan.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me. I don't know how to follow up that intro. That's some heavy stuff to live up to. I'm gonna be quiet now. All right.
Yeah, don't worry, because I've got an even better intro for our next lovely guest. We have got the one and only Prince of Positivity, the King of Kindness, General Good Vibes himself. CyanideBlizzard is also here with us today. How are you doing today, my friend?
Good.
Wow.
I gotta go.
That has to be by far the best.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. That's a remarkable introduction. Heard a lot of good things about the American Sushi dynamic duo. Watched a few of those Pokemans streams that Evan did. Were phenomenal, so it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you both for coming on. Tell us about yourselves. Jordan's already been on here a bunch, so we don't need to hear him talk as much.
You probably don't need to hear me say this, but I'm kind of a big deal, you know?
He's the anime dude.
Yeah.
YT.
Something like that.
Cyanide, talk to us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And what do you enjoy doing?
Well,
Oh my god.
I like long walks on the beach and holding hands. I also have a fondness for kittens. In my spare time,
Yes.
I sometimes like to bake as well.
Oh, is this... Wait, hold on.
Fun fact,
Alright,
he's
so
also very talented at ASMR.
Yeah, I might have to blow my load already, because I watched this ASMR video, and it was so funny. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen, Cyanide.
No, I'm CyanideBlizzard.
Don't-
Michael, I used to do a show called First Impressions on YouTube for a period of time where I'd have a variety of different guests as well as co-hosts would stop in and we'd react to a show and then give our thoughts at the end of it. I've also done a little bit of fan translation work as well, and I do streaming from time to time when I have some spare time. So if I'm not doing that, I'm hanging out with some of the finest individuals in the community, that being Too Spooky, the anime dude, and American Sushi, Evan himself.
Hey.
Oh,
So-
man.
Beautiful.
He's quite
That
the
was
guy.
wonderful.
He's quite the guy.
I want to hear about this ASMR, because I watched that video, and I didn't want to bring this question up so quickly, but Jordan referenced it. So you made an ASMR video, Cyanide.
Yes.
What? What in the world? Can you just explain that to me? The process.
So,
You're-
okay, so I wanted every year to do something fun. For my old channel, I had done a video game review, kind of a mock style, but what I wanted to do was another video based upon that was called First Impressions Battle Royale. And the idea was that we were going to have a bunch of people and a whole bunch of shots. Because there's a channel out there that basically what they do is there's a bunch of people that have reacted to episodes. They just amalgamated all into one video, and it's a den of noise. It's the funniest thing ever, unintentionally, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And what I wanted to do was this concept of where in one frame, everyone would be talking over each other. Then it'd be like 5 minutes later, everyone's like arguing with each other. And then 5 minutes later, it's like there's corpses, there's blood. You know, it's like they're like in one frame there'd be a bowl of ice, and the next one to be melted. You know, like a stuffed animal would be torn apart, and it's just like whoever survives wins first impressions in this battle royale. Well, ASMR was really starting to gain a lot of steam at this point, and I was like, okay, how can I do this that would be amusing? And the funny thing I always thought of was, okay, what if somebody came in and just bugged the person, they just went off on them? So the whole idea was just, how can I create this video where I get to yell at someone, but I'm not actually yelling in the microphone, I'm yelling like off screen. And that's like kind of where the whole gem of the idea came from. Just spitballed it, recorded it, ended up going a lot better than I expected it to, so I just put it out there. But no, I love April Fool videos, which is the same thing with Shoji Kawamori and Sega Gaga. It's just like this whole idea of creating this pseudo-faux analytical video, just, I don't know, it just tickled me. So I love stuff like that, having fun with it, so.
I think that's the most important thing right there. Just have fun with it.
April's Fools is perfect for that. You know, it's just have fun
Oh,
with the
yeah.
content. And what better time than April Fools to put something out that's just like, what is this?
No,
Yeah.
I actually haven't made an April Fool's video aside from like when I first started YouTube, and then that was hit with copyright, so it's not even on my channel anymore. It's so sad.
This is
I
sad.
figured.
I think I've done one or two.
Yeah, I figure one of these days I'll try to do like an original one, like very original idea, where I just like take an anime like Mob Psycho and just react to every single frame, you know, frame by frame.
Oh, that's a really unique idea,
I
Jordan.
think it's a very unique idea. You know.
Yeah, I've never heard of
I
anyone
think it'll
doing
be
that.
fun. So.
Did I do that on April Fool's? I completely forgot. I was thinking of the
2.5
banana one, where
hours.
I talked about
No,
bananas.
the banana one was that an April
Yeah, that
Fool's
was
one?
good
That was
too.
just a
That was
genuinely
Yeah,
good
it
video.
was.
Absolutely.
Oh man,
Well, I did learn a lot about bananas. So
dude,
was
I learned a lot
happy
about
to,
bananas.
Yeah, I guess for a fun fact of the people in the chat here. So our grandparents and people of the previous generations, they used to have a completely different banana that they used to eat, but then it went extinct because of a banana virus. So now we have the bananas that we all eat, called the Cavendish banana. You're welcome.
Oh man,
Who knew?
you don't know. Like 10 years down the road, you're gonna be explaining that to your grandchildren, and you're not gonna know why. Or 10 to 20, 30, 40 years down the road, grandchildren, your children, they're all gonna know that as you explain it to them. You're not gonna know why you know that, but you'll know it. You're welcome.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh.
everybody's welcome.
What a fun fact.
Yeah, that's what I do sometimes. Ha ha ha.
So, Cyanide, another question for you.
Go
So
nuts.
another thing you do that's really fun and interesting to me is you do translating, and specifically like translating manga, right?
Video games, actually. I did try to
is it?
translate a manga a while back, though. That's a bit of a story.
Oh,
with that,
okay.
though,
Ooh, let's hear it. Or is this not
Well,
a story
so
you want to tell?
the initial getting involvement was I wanted to translate a manga, Gundam
Okay.
EXA, which is sort of like a mismatch of various Gundam things, but it's also its own separate entity. And I needed someone to look at it for translating it because I don't know the language. And my reason for not learning the language was because I knew that if I learned the language, all I would do is invest in whatever products I could get my hands on. So pretty much for monetarily purposes, for maintaining my finances, I didn't learn Japanese. Back in the
I believe
2000s, I decided I was like, this is a terrible idea. I'm not going to learn Japanese because all I'm going to do is import things. And at the time, I was in a very serious relationship, so it's kind of like not really the smartest idea. So I'm just flat out not going to do it. If I was single or if I wasn't going to buy nearly as much stuff, I would have learned the language. But I was like, no, not going to. Especially now, I still buy a ton of things, so I'm especially glad that I did it because I know it would have been a heck of a lot worse. But no, the whole idea was that I had bought the manga, I had debound it, and I was in the process of scanning it, and I was going to clean it and redraw whatever I needed to, but I needed someone to translate it. So I reached out to 92, who I eventually would work with later on, asked them if they knew someone, and they said they'd get back to me, didn't find anyone. I actually reached out as well in a community to try and translate a light novel as well. Was going to try and work with that. I figured that wasn't going to have any takers because the translating is the entirety of it, so, if I'm not translating it, then someone else is just going to come on board to translate it? No, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, those were my first two initial entries just to put the bait out there to see if anyone would be biting, anyone would be interested, and that led to finding a game and then going from there.
Okay, so that's what the Konosuba is a game. See, I've always... Yeah? No?
It is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
light novel
it's-
that was adapted into an anime, which then they made games for, so you are correct,
Okay.
technically.
Alright, so there's where I thought it was a manga. My bad.
They do have a manga adaptation as well. You are right.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Fun.
that's not what you're translating.
Fun fact: I never finished that game, but I actually played the Konosuba game before I figured out that it was translated partially by Cyanide. So
Oh,
That's
really?
legendary.
yeah. I didn't know that till afterwards, but it's just a fun game. So I thought it was a cool.
Well, thank you for your service, Cyanide.
I know.
Helping Jordan out here along with
Helping out.
however many other people. Doing the service of the gods, we salute you.
You know how many things go untranslated and stuff, especially light novels. Like I know you brought that up and stuff, but there's so many light novels and stuff that just never get translated to English, and manga
There's
as well.
so much media out there, and that's kind of a big thing, and it's especially... the 90s really fascinates me in regards to technologically with how, for the video game industry, there was this desire to try and put out more than what was capable. Ambition was high, pricing wasn't so exorbitant to where you'd be spending hundreds of millions of dollars, but I mean, like, you had companies like Red Entertainment collaborating with NEC, which produced the PC CD, which is the TurboGrafx CD, and they worked to create basically what was their, was supposed to be the piece de resistance, the console seller, Tengai Makiao 2 Majin Maru, which, by the way, Majin, so it features the reverse swastika, you know, ha ha ha!
Oh yeah.
But the thing about that is, it's like, I was reading the Untold History of Japanese Game Development. Game costs like 500 million yen to produce, and this is a game that came out in 1991 or 1992. So development was probably into the like 1990, and to think about a game from back then costing that amount of money is just, it's ridiculous. But that's the thing, it's just that level of ambition and desire back then is always fascinating me. So I always love going back and finding those properties. And the interesting thing, and I bring up that game in particular, is that despite it commanding an immense popularity in Japan, like I said, it was built to be a system seller. That's the whole ideology behind it was to sell consoles. And despite it being that popular, never made it stateside. None of the games ever did. I think the only exception was a fighting game, but as a JRPG series, it did really well in Japan. And that's kind of one of those things is, you know, you look at that and you're just like, oof. You know, not to mention they eventually made a sequel that parodied America, because the whole concept behind it is they had a fictional historian called P.F. Chada, and it was basically their historical telling of a country called Jipang. So basically it's this just weird version of Japan told through a foreigner's eyes. The games are humorous, they're enjoyable, it's a little bit of everything. There's a Studio Ghibli composer involved. I can't remember his name right now, but
wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a high production type product, like very high production, and yet that's just it. Never made it stateside, despite being that big, despite being that popular. Just never made it outside of Japan. So yeah, there's a lot of media out there, light novels, manga, video games, anime, just never got out of Japan, and it's processes that work to restore those or to bring those forward is just, I mean, you gotta commend those, which is why it's so fascinating, especially with the current discussion of piracy. Which I don't know.
Oh yeah,
if you gents want to get into that sometime. I don't know, that may be too great.
There's a lot of well, it's like Cyanide said and stuff. There's a lot of media that hasn't been translated, but even though there's a lot of fan translations and stuff out there for some things, like even for that, like the licensing behind some things makes it so much more complicated than.
Oh yeah.
Like I was literally listening to a podcast here recently that was talking about, I think it's Tentai Books is like a new company with like 2 light novels they're like trying to translate and bring over, and you know it's just like a startup thing, but like there's just so many titles to choose from, and like, you know, they're bringing like 2 titles over, and just hearing them talk about all the complications that go into the getting the legality and the rights and stuff for it is you know, it sounds so tedious that like,
that's the big thing. Tokyo Pop was a big portion of what helped bring novels over to the West. Went out of business, so there was a lot of series like Slayers or Full Metal Panic that just never got finished. Jade Novel Club started bringing over a lot of these other series, but that's the thing too, is at the end of the day, these are also businesses. They have to be lucrative. I can't get into the details, but I'll just say that for something I worked on, I was in talks with people, and the reason why it's just talks is because of just that. There's a lot of stuff to get that to make it happen that just becomes a mess. A really great example is Harmony Gold and Robotech, which is a reason why Macross, despite being as huge as it was, as influential as it was in the 80s for when the series first came out, it's never gotten a proper release outside of that, is because of issues with Harmony Gold and Takanotsu Productions and just licensing messery. It's a mess, absolute mess. And like ADV, when they were still around, released the first season, I think the first show, but that's just it. Trying to find that's ridiculous. Anime Igo also had released it as well, but they goes for exorbitant prices. I tracked those DVDs down, but that's it. Buying them secondhand cost me like $200. You know, I can afford to pay that money. Most people can't, and it's not even with just that. No One Lives Forever, the operative No One Lives Forever, a game developed by Monolith Productions that came out in 2000, was published by Sierra and Fox Interactive. A company called Night Dive Studios wanted to re-release the game several years ago, remaster and re-release it. They couldn't because they didn't know who had the rights. And they tried to find out,
Great.
nobody knew. And that's the thing. So ultimately, the game never got re-released because it's like, I don't know. And so that's the thing, is what ended up happening is someone decided, hey, here's like the EXE files for both games as well as the expansion pack for the second game. You can just play these as is, who cares? And that's kind of the thing. It'd be nice to be able to support some of these products legitimately.
Yeah,
which is why I cut you off there, Jordan. My apologies. But that's the thing, is because of the business aspect and it being so muddied, that's why in some cases it's better to ask for forgiveness than beg for permission. And which is why you see some of the stuff happen. And it's unfortunate because I like buying things. You know, I tweeted out earlier that I got like the last 2 DVD things of Saber Marionette. I'm a huge fan of buying things. I like owning physical media. And I'm just a big fan of doing that, supporting what I enjoy. But that's just it. You can't always do so. And I mean, what do you do then? You know, that's.
It's a problem. Like we end up running into more often than, or at least I end up running into more often than I'm like happy about. But it's even going past the legal side of it and stuff. I can think of a few examples. There's just so much passion that has to go into being able to translate learn Japanese, but then be able to translate like Cyanide does. Like I can't imagine. Like that's the entire reason I actually I took some Japanese in college, and is I found one light novel that has no legal translation. You can't you can't support it in any way because of that. And I kind of wanted to do that. I wanted to be able to translate it myself, but the amount of effort that must have like went into actually learning Japanese and being able to translate it's learning a new language, not easy. Very underrated skill.
No,
I don't know. I definitely respect Cyanide a lot for that because, like I said, I got my degree in computer science. I took some engineering classes too, and I think that basic elementary 1 Japanese class is probably like the hardest class I took in college. So I mean, like it's just not to be underestimated. So
here's the thing,
there's a lot that goes into that.
Really cool part though. See, I don't know a lick of the language either, and in fact, the first project I worked on, the basic breakdown was like this. I looked at the project, it was something I was interested in, saw that someone had worked on it and dropped it, saw that the format of that it was built in was RPG Maker XVace. I owned a copy of RPG Maker XVace on Steam, and they had already cracked the file itself, so I could get in there and I could mess around with it. I happen to know someone as well who has worked proficiently with RPG Maker XVace, so I could run things past them. I found someone who was interested, that 92 individual, who was a pleasure to work with then, was very interested in working on the game. So the thing is, you never really know, but you can build a team based on that. I reached out to someone who had worked on an extraction, unpacker, repacker for Rediker, the Capitalism Ho game that's on Steam, where you basically go dungeon crawling and you sell stuff at a store later on. They created an unpacker for that game. I was working on a game that was done by the same company that produced that game, except it was an earlier version of the engine. They modified their unpacker, because I just reached out to them. Hey, I don't know if you'd be able to do something with this, but I'm working on this game. I don't know the similarities. Here's where you can find it. If you happen to have the time and you wouldn't mind, I'd really appreciate it. So, a basic, like, hey, like, you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you're curious, there you go. Reached out to them. They were more than cooperative and more than willing to help me along the way, and to the point of where even right now we're testing the waters for something new.
Ooh.
At the end of the day, you never know, but you take that risk. You reach out, you see what you can find. So you got that passion, you found that light novel. Try to find other people out there that may be interested in it as well. Because maybe...
the one I'm talking about, I got kind of lucky. Like, I think it was just picked up by another group here recently. So, like, within the past year or so. So it is being translated again. There's still, like, only, like, halfway through it. But man, I don't know. It's one of those things where, with the amount of light novels that do go untranslated, like, there's just not nearly enough people that have that level of passion, Cyanide, because it goes...
and that drive and motivation.
That sounds almost more... What you described, that sounds almost more difficult than learning the language, not going to lie. Like, trying to reach out, form teams to...
Everything fell into place, and I'll tell you right now, and this may surprise some people, literally was no work at all. It was just being able to reach out to certain people and finding the right people to agree. Sometimes they won't work. The manga project I did before, the light novel project, didn't work. This one did. That's just it. And you're absolutely right. There is so much out there. It's virtually impossible to cover it all. But Let's give it a shot. What do you got to lose?
There you go. Very inspirational, inspirational, ladies and gentlemen. Take notes.
Indeed. But I guess something we have to lose is something that we lost recently is the good old Kiss Anime and Kiss Manga. F in the chat, please.
Yeah.
But
What's
something
that?
I wanted to bring up with that, it's it's something.
It
but
shows
something
all the kisses in manga and anime.
Yeah, there's a lot of them too. But something that kind of ties into this is with all the media that, is overseas or just elsewhere in the world that, you run into all these legal troubles, it's just not translated, all that jazz, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw I forget who it was exactly, but there was this whole entire thread about this voice actor who works with, like, Funimation or Crunchyroll, one of those two. Yeah, and they were talking about how, like, there's a reason why you don't have access to it over here, and because it's not accessible, you shouldn't have it. So I guess, what do you guys feel about that? Because I feel like that's a big hot take.
I saw
personally.
a different voice actress say that they would want people to enjoy the medium, and if they can't afford it or don't have access to it, then pirating's the only way to go. And
okay.
I saw a different voice actor say that.
People are going to have their own opinions. I think that first opinion you stated, Spooks, was kind of a very stupid one when I read it. But at the same time, if you work in the industry and stuff,
you want to get paid
and
for
you
it.
have to deal with like licensing things with the company and whatnot. It's not necessarily even that you want to get paid for it, because I think she was referencing things that would just never even be made available in general. Like she was basically just saying like, yeah, if it's just not available then or legally, then you shouldn't watch it. Like it should lost media doesn't matter, which I think is dumb.
Yeah,
but I do understand somebody like having a more legality based perspective and stuff if they're actually in the industry. Like I get it, but yeah.
So, like, when it comes to piracy in particular, I'd say like my main issue is the fact that a lot of like those sites they make profit off of like illegal scans. I think that's obviously not a good thing, but I think
that's a little bit shady. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Very
for sure.
shady.
Because obviously, unless those profits are somehow going to the industry or the creators, like I don't think that it's something we should definitely support. But just reading scans in general for things that aren't like legally translated over here, I don't see any issue with that, especially if you're supporting the industry in other mediums anyways. It's like, you could quote unquote be hurting people through it, but at the same time, but because you're supporting it in other ways, you're still doing so much for the industry as it is. And I feel like because something we can't access because there's no legal way to do so doesn't mean we shouldn't have access to it. And even then, like with the whole legality talk, like even just look at like movies, right? You know how many like different franchises they've planned like crossovers for, but they could just never do it because the people who own the rights just won't agree.
Yeah.
And like you just take that over to this, and it's like, all those properties that we do have access to over here, like you can barely do anything with them because everyone's just like, they have such a lockdown on the rights to these things. And I imagine it's very similar with manga and anime as well.
Yeah, and so I want to bring up one of my personal experiences with pirating video games. Okay.
Oh.
And so this game, it's called Anodyne, is what it's called, and so it's gotten a bigger following now. But this was like 7 years ago. I saw it. It was either mentioned on 4chan or it was just on Pirate Bay or something like that. But they talked about how like the creators themselves put it on Pirate Bay for people to download if they didn't have the money to support it, and they were like, we want you guys to play this game. We are an indie developer. There's just 2 of us. We want everyone to play this game. We worked really hard on it. If you don't have the money, download it. If you get the money and you enjoy it, then buy it. And so I, in my incredible YouTube career, made a couple YouTube videos on it because I was so impressed with that. And I wrote to the developers. And I was like a very nerdy message of like, I'm a huge fan. I love your game. I'm doing a YouTube Let's Play of it. Could you guys check it out? I think the game is incredible, stuff like that. Like, I was gushing to these guys, and they responded to me, too. And they just said, they didn't say much, but they said, thank you, and thanks for doing a Let's Play, we appreciate those. And so, like, I think that has left such a lasting remark on me, where I bought that game twice, and I've never even finished it, just because of that attitude and, like, that willingness to communicate. Now, obviously, like, bigger corporations don't have that
mindset at
like,
all, but
and they don't have that maybe ability to answer questions when there's so many people like emailing them. I was probably maybe one of their only emails at this time. It was that like unknown and indie, but like they've made another game since then, and And I think there's another game called Owlboy that has a very similar developer situation where they're okay with it. And that's kind of the mindset that I think more people should have, because I like like Brandon, I love owning things, and I like buying games and physical copies just because I want to always own them. You never know when like on DS, like the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection went down. So any games that you had, well, I guess
gone.
Yeah, I guess for 3DS they're still there, but like the point remains, eventually maybe the Switch online system will go down, right? And so any downloadable games that you have may disappear from your console. So you don't necessarily own them, you own the ability to play them.
Yep. Digital media is really weird in that way. Like, I'm still getting used to it. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, in a lot of ways, I'm like, this is great. But in a lot of ways, I'm like, I want to be able to just buy it and hold it in my hands.
I'm a physical copy boy too, Spooks, I feel like.
Yeah, because, like, you know, like, even with, like, a movie, right? It's like, you know, one day it's on Netflix. You know, everything's great. You can watch it as many times as you want. It's your favorite movie of all time. Oh, it's gone. Hey, is it any other streaming platforms?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, what am I going to do? Oh, I got to buy it now. And then it's like, you know, the only way you're no longer going to have it is if you lose it, you get rid of it, or you break it.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can watch that literally anytime you want. And plus, you can also take a lot of physical media, especially like on discs, and you can just rip it right onto your computer. So then you have it both digitally and physically. Oh, got him.
Yeah. But, you know, and a lot of Blu-rays and stuff, especially nowadays, come with a, you know, like a code or something where you can just put it on your account and online, and you can still have it digitally and physically. But I don't know, it's an interesting thing that Evan brought up, just because I feel like in the anime and manga industry especially, there's a lot of people out there that want to support the industry, and a lot of times it just comes down to the availability of it. And even whenever you don't support the industry, like say at first with I don't know, like I didn't use Kiss Anime much, but like whenever I was real young and I first started watching anime, you know, there was Toonami Jetstream there for a little bit, but for the most part, it's like you discover this thing called anime, and then you realize there's all these websites online that you can basically watch any anime you want at any time you want, right? And then you watch a lot, you become fans of certain series, and you know, now that I'm older, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, you go out and you buy like the Blu-rays of the series that you loved, where you can own them, or the manga,
and you have the money to do that. You have the ability to do that.
You know, there's definitely some, like, putting your stuff out there to be able to build a fan base like that. There's definitely some merit to that I think a lot of you know, companies may not consider or be able to consider whenever they're thinking about like the legality of certain things. Like,
absolutely,
there's a lot of weird legal situations out there.
Yeah,
like one of the biggest ones that comes to my mind is Major. Like one of my favorite anime of all time is never been available anywhere outside of Japan. And then you know, they had that continuation of it, Major Second, which is basically like the baseball Boruto, if you will. Like, it's a continuation. It's licensed by Crunchyroll, so there's a lot of people just starting with that because they don't even realize that there was this entire series. It's like top 100 anime of all time on my anime list and stuff, highly rated, and it's just never been available outside of Japan, never marketed well. It's such a shame. I would own that in a heartbeat if it was just available. But
yeah. And then it also comes where sometimes, you know, like Cyanide was mentioning earlier with Tokyo Pop, there's these companies that get a lot of different rights to series, and they start publishing them, and then they go under.
Yeah.
And then since they have the rights, unless they sell them off, but usually there's like a certain window of time you have to do that, or you have to like wait so long before the rights become available again. And it's like so many series just disappear, and then like, you know, it's like impossible to buy them. Like take like Kenichi for instance, the anime for that, it's like at least minimum $250 to buy it physically.
Yeah,
because
it went up exorbitantly.
Yeah, and then like with Tokyo Pop, they had Battle Royale, and that's a really popular one. And to get some of the later volumes or like the big perfect editions, you have to spend like stupid amounts of money.
Yeah,
and that's the thing a lot of people don't realize in regards to this, and I'm gonna talk about that because that's so important. Back in the mid 2000s, ADV, Bandai Entertainment, Geneon Entertainment, formerly Pioneer Entertainment, were gone. Poof, out of business. That's three of the giant four companies, because Funimation at the time was still a child. They were not really in contention with those other three, not in comparison to the amount of material they were putting out. Funimation was yet to become the behemoth that it would eventually be. But that's the thing. All three of these companies went out of business. You want to know what happened to the shows that they put out? Skyrocketed in price. So now all of a sudden,
Yep.
I was fortunate enough to buy the Higurashi Season 1 collection. Next thing I know, after a while, that set's going for $200. And that's the thing, is supply and demand is going to dictate those prices, as with manga.
Absolutely.
Supply and demand dictates a ton of those prices. So not only is it now harder to find that, but like, first and foremost, if you even want to buy that stuff, which is another thing that everyone brought up in that tweet, you're not even supporting the industry. All you're doing is supporting the person who's selling its pocket. That's all you're doing. I mean, you're just contributing to supply and demand, and that's sort of where the problem comes from. Another really great example, Spooks, you brought that up as well. MediaWorks licensed Virtua Fighter, which was a 1995 anime based on the fighting game series. They dubbed, with the help of another company, the first 24 episodes. There's just one problem with that. There's 35 episodes in the series.
Oh, good.
So they didn't finish dubbing the series, never finished fully releasing it. The series was released unreleased until Asian Crush, which was like a digital media rights or something, like some sort of side offshoot publisher, picked up the other series, subtitled the rest of the 11 episodes that weren't finished. And I mean, that series was released like that for well over who knows how many years. And that's not necessarily an uncommon occurrence either. Funimation had the rights to Case Closed, Detective Conan, released like about the first 120 episodes and like a handful of the movies, and then that was it. They were done. I own all that stuff. Yep. They stop right before like stuff actually gets good with it. So it's infuriating, because even when you try to support that, even when you try to do that, it's difficult to do so, because you can feel like you're getting your wrists or your hands slapped, and especially if your payments aren't necessarily going to actually support that industry. You know, that's the thing. It's to find better things to do so. And I remember like when Crunchyroll was first announced, I'm like, that's a great idea, except there's just one problem. How much is what I'm paying actually going into the industry? See, the thing is, for the first several years, Crunchyroll never disclosed how much of what you put in actually goes back into the industry. They're all, go with us to support the anime industry. Except we're not going to tell you exactly how much you're putting in goes back into the industry. So it's like, streaming is already meh. You're not actually disclosing to me how much I'm paying for you to go back into the industry. Why would I stop doing what I'm doing now, which more of that money goes back into the industry then? Why would I support you? And it's just, because of that, I've never been a fan of Crunchyroll. I'm glad that they've changed a lot of their ways since then, but that really left a bad taste in my mouth in regards to how they went about it. Which, because I mean, they're a business at the end of the day. Their goal is to make a profit first and foremost. So I get that, and that's fine. But yeah, that's the thing. Emulation is critical for media preservation, because at the end of the day, this stuff is going to erode, degrade. Like, CD qualities are going to eventually wane, or depending upon the material qualities they're produced, they're going to just corrode. Ultimately, it's just flat out going to stop working. Whether it's the machine, whether it's the media, it's just going to stop. Having a means to preserve that, I feel like, is very essential. And it's really important to understand how things evolve, to have these historical elements. Yes, I understand at some point the sands of time bury everything, okay? We can't avoid that. There's only so much history that eventually, after a while, it becomes way too much to keep track of. But if we can at least try to preserve it and then document it and then keep that going from there, I do feel that's really important. A really good example, Sega Saturn. If you ever tried to buy any games for the Sega Saturn, whether it's Japanese or American or European, they're exorbitant in price. Like, they're ridiculously expensive. And that's the thing is, even with like a Saturn, you can gimmick it to make it basically a universal system where it can play any region. Doesn't naturally, you have to utilize a little bit of a trick. But that's the thing, even with doing that, like, the most I spent on a game for the Sega Saturn was $250. Why?
Oh, jeez.
What purpose is that? But that's the thing. It's just,
that doesn't go to the developers.
It's not going to anybody. It's supply and demand. So that's the thing is, I think there is an essential for aspects like that, because while, and here's the thing, in terms of punishing companies, so for a long period of time, erotic visual novels, primarily the only way these were really being translated was through fan translations. And understandably so, because of the content material, it's kind of difficult to release Western-wise, just simply because of our laws versus the laws in Japan. So, there were companies that were doing this, primarily the better stories, or stories that people wanted to read, were fan translated. So, as time progresses, we're seeing a lot more companies pop up. But the problem is that there's still a large amount of people going through other means to acquire these titles, or these titles immediately ending up on these other sites. You can't avoid that. That's going to happen. But that is something that it does affect, especially a small niche industry like visual novels. It's difficult for them to be able to sustain themselves long term if their bottom line's being cut into like that. Now, if someone wants to say, for example, test something out, kind of like, as you mentioned there, Evan, test something out, they like it so much, then they buy it, which, by the way, I've heard of other developers doing that as well. It's a small number, but those who do it, way ahead of the curve.
You want to support
really
them,
smart thinking right there. But yeah, it's difficult to do because you can't stop the train. It's going to keep moving no matter what. I guarantee you, the moment that individual tweeted that out, people were pirating stuff like crazy. All she did was just get people to double down on something that she didn't want them to do. Because you tell someone not to do something, they're going to go ahead and do it, just to spite you.
And they're probably going out of their way to get stuff that she worked on, too.
Exactly. But that's the thing, is being able to preserve that media and also finding a way to still allow these companies that are trying to bring stuff over to profit. Working Design was a great example in the 90s of being a publisher that wanted to bring Japanese role-playing games stateside. The thing is, though, and this was something that they earned a lot of flack or even ire for, was that they would include pop culture references, they'd include various things. Like, for example, in the Sega Saturn game Albert Odyssey, there's an NPC you could talk to, and they talk about learning Ebonics. And so it's like, wait, what? I'm pretty sure this is not in the original game, but it's like, at the same time, the game is dry, but I enjoy talking with the NPCs because it was always amusing. And it's stuff like that, very literal versus liberties has always been an issue in terms of translations. But that was something that some people had issues with, but they were a very big part of allowing certain titles to come over, which then allowed the industry to thrive. And that's the thing, is companies like that need to be able to have that success, have those sales, so they can continue to stay in business, continue to be able to do those kind of things, but yet at the same time having that media preservation and being able to have people who are bringing over things that we wouldn't have access to, or like what Spooky and Jordan mentioned, well, all three of us have mentioned, all four of us, geez, three of us, you're not in the party yet, get out. All four of us have mentioned that ultimately, at the end of the day, if something like is no longer in print, it just exponentially skyrockets in price, or else it becomes really difficult to find. And I mean, what do you do then? What are you left with? You're left with paying secondhand for an absurd price, or perhaps for a series that was released in VHS only, and then trying to track down those tapes. It means to hook it up. Like, hey, look, most modern TVs don't have an RGB input, at least in the West. And so, I mean, good luck. Now you got to buy an adapter for that too. Hey, there's for certain consoles,
or buy a new TV.
Yes, exactly. Or like the TurboGrafx CD. It comes with an upscaler you can get for it. But you want to know how much these modified consoles cost? It's about $1,000.
A lot.
So like you're paying an exorbitant amount of money to do this. The average individual out there is not going to be able to afford to do something like that. Anyone who's even, like, if you're in the upper echelon bracket, like, I tend to burn more money on this stuff just because I find it fascinating, because I set aside money to do so. And even I'm looking at that with a slush fund going, I don't think so. And I'm not trying to come across as arrogant or egotistic there in regards to my wording of that, but it's just, I tend to throw more money at the stuff because I like being able to preserve it. I like being able to have it on hand and resell it maybe down the road. I like collecting things.
Sure.
So it's I tend to throw more towards that. And even I look at that going, what the F, when you're able to achieve great quality, and in some cases even better, with an emulator and emulation overall. And it's just, I mean, the ability to be able to preserve things, to be able to experience other things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to without tracking down all this material that ultimately is going to nobody but the seller.
I think a lot of it goes back, like just going way back. I think a lot of it just boils down to, whenever you're talking about this stuff, are you looking at it as an art form and as something that you appreciate as a fan, or are you looking at it purely from a business perspective, where it's like, so there's a lot of people and stuff, whenever they're talking about this, they're like, hey, if we did make this available or whatever, like, what are we going to get out of it? What's the incentive to do so? But I don't know, like, I just keep thinking back to that, like, that tweet that Spooky mentioned from that voice actor, and I feel like whenever you read a tweet like that and stuff, it's almost like that's not like a true fan of the art form itself and stuff, because they're saying that if you're not in a privileged place like America, that like if you're in some country that is region locked for a certain title, or or you literally just don't have that title available to you in any legal alleyway and stuff, that you just should not experience that media. And I feel like that's looking at it purely from a business perspective rather than like as a fan of the art form. Like there's so much amazing stuff out there, and like I said, whenever Cyanide's talk about this and stuff, like we can tell, like he's just definitely very passionate about it. Like
absolutely.
You said, whenever you have that passion, that not only like whenever you have something that you're that passionate about and stuff, you don't mind trying to support it and trying to do all that stuff, but I don't think everybody's going to look at it that way. So that's kind of I think where that divide happens, and
that's
where people have those disagreements.
Like I remember there was someone called Miles Express 999. I don't know if they changed their name, but that was their name on Twitter for a while. Miles Express 999, and it's like that's the thing. A lot of people bring up, hey, look, I live in a different country. I can't get Crunchyroll. What am I supposed to do? And it's like he'd blast these people, and it's just like what? It's just like, how privileged could you possibly get? That's the thing. It's just, these things aren't universal. If you're not offering the application in an aspect to where a global media can consume it, you can't necessarily browbeat people in a different country resorting to other means to consume something that they very clearly want to. If there's a passion desire, that's just it. They're going to track it down. Sorry to cut you off there, Jordan.
No, I was just saying that's the thing. There is a lot of demand for that stuff, but sometimes the supply isn't there at all. So
there's no supply.
Just going
so what
back
do you
to
do?
that,
And you'd think like either fans or the people making it would want their medium to be consumed by as many people as possible. Like, if I'm a fan of a show, I want to tell my friends about it. I want them to watch it.
You would think so, because if nothing else, it might translate to sales later on if you do transfer over to that region. Like, going back to, this company I did a little bit of research into recently, that startup, I think it was Tentai Books and stuff. They're, like, the founder and stuff speaks both Spanish and English. And I think he's mainly doing Spanish or English releases of the couple light novels that they picked up. But I think one of his main goals is that he gradually wants to make those available in Spanish-speaking countries as well, because there's like literally, for a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, there's like maybe 2 or 3 of the big name light novels available physically, and like there's people that want to own that stuff, that they want to be able to, consume it like we do as fans, and they want to be able to support it, but half the time it's just not available.
Yeah.
Until I've you kind of test those waters. You don't even know if there is a demand or not, but.
People have asked me, like, hey, is it alright if we translate Konosuba and the Life to French, to Spanish? It's like, yeah, go nuts. That's the thing. It's like, if there's a demand for something that people want to do it, they will. I know, like, there's shows like Saint Seiya were huge in the Latin American market. Yath Ashin Uchinroko, which was a show back in 1996, was absurdly huge. And I think, like, in the Israeli language and as well as in the Spanish language, and that's like a full translation. Never been touched in English, never at all, but is huge in those regions. And that's the thing, is you'll get certain things that they'll pop off in different regions in different countries, and that's just it. It's like, odds are, how are they going to get it? They're going to get it by going out there and making it happen themselves, because that's just it. There's no supplier to it. So if there's no supplier and there's a demand, someone else is going to pop up as the supplier. Hey, I got the goods. Ooh, goods. Don't mind if
and
I
that's
do.
how capitalism works, baby.
Yeah, but
dang it.
It's one of those things where it's so hard for me to like wrap my head around sometimes, because like even if I take away the fact that I'm a fan of a lot of this stuff and I'm purely looking at it from a business perspective, the fact that you would want to region lock different the fact that like as an individual, I understand that there's legality behind it as a company and stuff, but if you're an individual and you think that like people shouldn't be able to have access to stuff, like say I own the rights to a manga or light novel or whatever, right? Like if somebody wants to like fan translate that over to Spanish and then like let everybody from Mexico, Brazil, Spain, any Spanish speaking country experience that, then that's basically, and you're creating an entire another market. If you ever decide to legally get it translated to that language, then you have like a whole new fan base. Like I said, if you're developing a fan base that like wouldn't have existed otherwise, that
and YouTube recently, they got rid of their community provided captions, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Like, why would that one? That's very along the same lines of why would you do that?
It's just because people weren't using it, and even then, it's like, well, you could at least just keep the feature there.
Yeah.
I mean, people do use it,
I
even if
feel
it's
like
not
some
people
super
use it,
frequent
yeah.
anymore.
I feel like
Well,
it's
just
a
like
very popularly
annotations.
used.
Like, think of all the random things in videos that are just lost now. Like, somebody added a correction, somebody posted a link to something important with an annotation, and now they just don't exist anymore. So it's like all that history, all that like those potential whatever to enhance the video are just gone. And then now, even with the new tools, you can't do a lot of the same stuff that you could with annotations. So it's like, okay, I get that people aren't using them as much, but what is it really hurting to just get rid of them? It feels like you're just purposely eradicating a bunch of history from the site.
I feel like
for no
YouTube
reason.
makes a lot of questionable decisions on stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the one good thing they did was get rid of YouTube messaging, because I don't think I ever heard anybody ever using that.
Oh, I've got a story about that too. Eventually, like,
Yeah.
I've definitely met people through YouTube messaging. Not
You
like,
have?
in
Yes,
real
yeah,
life.
back in the
but
I
day,
think I
I
messaged
did.
Briggs on it
Absolutely.
like once, but like.
Well,
just
back
messing
in the
around.
day, it was super prevalent.
Yeah, back in the
was
day,
it?
I did
Oh,
it.
okay.
I used it a
Oh.
lot. I had one on my Steam friends list message me out of the blue that I forgot about and was like, hey, because my Persona 4 game was crashing. And they're like, oh, you having trouble with that? I'm like, who is this? And they said, do you remember this username? And I'm like, oh my god, yeah, we messaged on YouTube all the time. Pokemon fan? What's
There
up?
you go. I never knew people actually used that. Like, I don't know. But
Oh, I used to.
It was in like high school / like late middle school probably for me. It's like, I don't know.
which,
I
like,
think-
the only, like, reasoning I could think of is that maybe, like, to maintain some of these features and stuff, there's a cost behind it that they're just trying to,
Yeah,
get rid of.
that
But,
could
like,
be.
for the most part, I feel like they're making the platform worse whenever they do make those decisions. Like, they're taking away features that people do use and rely on and stuff.
And specifically, like the captions one that are made by the community. Like,
Yeah.
I get maybe people are using negative words, but they had a filter for that. Like they had
Yeah.
they had
I-
stuff built in to
well,
get like to eliminate that.
The
right?
first thing I
Exactly.
thought of whenever that happened was, like, what if you're deaf? What if
exactly.
that, or what if you want to experience stuff from another
Yeah.
country that, like, what if you, like, had an audience in a country that didn't speak your native language, and then suddenly they just can't experience your content anymore because they
And
can't.
someone,
Well-
and someone's kind enough to be, they're bilingual, they
Yeah,
have that
make those
skill, and they're
captions.
willing to do those captions for you.
Yep. It's just a very sad thing.
But yeah, like, the first thing that came to my mind was that, like, YouTube basically gave a middle finger to anybody that's deaf. Like, good luck. Now you can't.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're not
Well,
allowed to
there
watch
is
these videos.
auto-generated.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, but those
You ever
suck.
tried
Those
those?
are
Like I said,
awful. What are you
They're
talking
fun.
Good
They're
luck.
hilarious.
Trip. I love it.
You
I
don't
turn
know
them
what
on
it's gonna
sometimes
say.
just to see what they say. Sometimes it's really funny.
Yeah, it's not. That's not a good solution. So,
I only watch two Spookies videos with auto-generated audio. So
and
Yes.
it's muted.
Well, it's funny.
Yes.
Sometimes, like, you know how whenever you're searching through your feed or, like, subscription feed, and, like, a video kind of, like, starts playing a little bit before
Uh-huh.
you even go into it with the captions on. Sometimes I'll let it sit there for about 10
Yeah,
to 20
me
seconds
too.
just to see what the
Mhm.
captions say. Like,
So, Cyanide, one, because along the same lines, but, like, I don't know that I've ever met someone quite like you. And I mean that in the best way possible.
Oh my.
You are such an intelligent, well-spoken, and motivational and positive. I think everyone in this call can agree
Lies and
on
deceit.
those statements for you.
300%.
This is slander.
200%.
So how did you mold yourself into such an incredible individual?
I just wanted to be better than I was yesterday. I mean, it's really as simple as that. I didn't like who I was. I wanted to be better, and I just kept working from there. I still don't like where I'm at. Still want to be even better where I'm
Sure.
at. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. It's
That's
just,
an incredible mindset. Can you, like, for example, like, just for me, what advice would you give for people that, I've listened to your interview with the CyanideBlizzard, and I thought that was really well done video, and a lot of questions I had were already stolen for that. But, like, you said that in the past you were kind of negative, you classified yourself as a realist, but were more negative and depressed and stuff like that. So what advice would you have for people that are in that place?
I mean, it's being able to have that perspective allows you to understand what it's like being at that end, and it's kind of knowing then to look at the other perspective to gauge the full picture as opposed to a portion of it. And that was the thing. It's like at a young age, I was an asshole. I was a jerk, and I'd see things in myself I didn't like, and I was like, do I want to be defined as this? Is this the person I want to be? You know, it's like, or do I want to just be simply a people pleaser? I enjoy talking with other people. I want to get along with everyone, Do I just want to be a people pleaser or what? You know, and that's kind of the whole thing. It's like I remember in my senior year, not being an asshole, but being a bitter person because I didn't know who I was because I spent so much time trying to be all these different things to fit in, to belong, to try to find a place for me that I just didn't ultimately get a chance to find who I was or be me and fit into those places, to be more precisely. And that's the difficult part is just it's going through that allowed me to understand what I wanted to look for and what I wanted to find in my own life. And that's sort of the thing, you know, seeing all that negativity, yeah, it was like, yeah, it's fine to see that. It's fine to have a good understanding of that perspective, but life isn't just one perspective. You know, we're not defined by simply one characteristic. We are an amalgamation of various experiences, of various moments, of various situations. They are the makeup of who we are. Our life defines us. There will never be anybody quite like us. No matter how many of me we may have out there, they will never have exactly the same life. Because we'll all do different things. And so that's the thing is, you know, it's understanding that and working to change that, working to better that, working to combat those things. Like I can still talk about a lot of stuff and still have those aspects that I struggle with or need to deal with better. But, you know, it's all work in progress. It's a work in process. Yeah. It's a project in and of itself.
The world's one of the world's greatest motivational speakers right there, right? Twitch.tv/CyanideBlizzard for Motivational Mondays if you're ever needing to pick me up. Those help me out all the time.
Link in the description below.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good way to word it, is like there's no one else quite like you, and you will still have parts of you that you don't like or you want to improve, but to always work towards that and understand that that's just one perspective.
Yeah, because that's just it.
Things that you may not like about yourself, someone else may fall in love with.
And that's the thing. And it was exactly that. Like, as cheesy as it was meeting someone that fell really deeply in love with me for who I was, that really, when I was in a really bad depression, and when I was in a really bad place in regards to that, just not really appreciative of myself, it really helped me gain that appreciation. It helped me see a different perspective of myself that I wasn't necessarily looking at, but more importantly, wasn't acknowledging. You know, it's just like, look, we're always going to have our shortcomings, and that's fine, because nobody's going to be harsher on us than we are on ourselves. That's just the bottom line. We are always going to, because we're under a microscope of every second of every day, because we're living that life. We are behind those eyes. We're going to judge everything with that, you know, whether it's preemptively, in case whatever anybody else may hear about us, or for whatever other reason that may be, there's always going to be that aspect. But it's about understanding that, you know, it's just a big problem I used to have is I loved trying to offer assistance to other people because I never really felt like I had someone to talk to, but more importantly was I didn't really try to reach out to anyone, but I always would try to talk to other people, and I would try to see better aspects, even if they weren't always good people, and most of the time, you know, they necessarily weren't. That wasn't understandable, but it's just, you know, that's the thing. There was always that kind of desire to do that, and it was just learning that, you know, look, at the end of the day, you know, nothing wrong with offering a hand, but that's not your job, and you know that, hey, look, you may not have thought you were treating it as such, but you kind of were. You don't need to do that. It's alright to help other people, but I mean, hey. And that's the thing, learn to redirect it and go from there. And I mean, even then, like, that's something that I learned, like, last year. It's something I've always known, but I really, like, sunk in last year. You're learning new things all the time. And it's like, oh, man, I should have learned that when I was much younger. I mean, that's just it. We all learn stuff at different points, at different times. Sometimes we need to go through a certain experience before it really sets in. So, just be forgiving.
And this really emphasizes a conversation I had with my therapist in the past year. Was like, I have very similar experiences to what you were describing of, like, always being the helping hand, but never reaching out for help. And what she described to me was like, well, you help out because you want to help your friends feel better, and you feel good knowing that you've helped them, right? And, like, that's genuinely why I do it. Like, I don't want any sort of, like, thanks or motivations. Like, I would do it for anyone, for any of my friends.
Oh, okay? Yeah, like an acquaintance, a friend of a friend. If someone just reached out, oh, hey, no problem.
If they need you,
because I get that.
we'll be there.
Yeah.
But what my therapist said to me that really sticks with me is you need to offer, when you need help, offer someone else the opportunity to feel that way for you. To feel that excitement, that happiness of helping you.
Yeah, and no, that's true. It's such good advice too. So it's just, you know, like a lot of times, you know, it's always like, I'm okay. I'm doing pretty good. Oh, I've been great, thanks.
Exactly.
But, you know, you don't really think of it, and sometimes, you know, like more and more, I'm kind of like, okay, I can recognize it. You know, like recently was having the epiphany, and I don't know if you ever heard of this, like cognitive distortions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that was for me. That was a big eye-opening thing because I got a chance to talk to someone about that, and it made me realize, especially seeing the list of cognitive distortions, how I would almost go through this laundry list, almost like just checklist of every time I was in a situation. I just go down this list of things, and it really opened my eyes in terms of how I was not only approaching situations, but I was perceiving them as well. And oh my gosh, talk about flipping a coin upside down, you know, everything got turned around. Whew.
Yeah. And so, like, to bring Jordan into this, what I saw recently on your Twitter was talking about, like, was making it okay, or at least doing your part to make it okay for people to seek help, right? Like, you were talking about seeking help for mental health, because a lot of things have been rough recently for people. And so, like, I think, I want to ask kind of what sparks that, if you're comfortable saying it, and, like, I guess I just want to thank you, because I think it's important to move that conversation about mental health, about seeking help, and depression and anxiety to be more commonplace.
No, I mean, I don't want to go into the specifics of it, but yeah, it's you know, it's one of those things where I think a lot of people are kind of going through a tough time right now, and you know, some people more so than others, and a lot of times they don't really know where to turn to whenever things are going that way. And you know, when things get like really, really rough and stuff, you don't need to have like, don't ever feel like you can't reach out to like professionals and stuff that know how to deal with that. Like you said, you spoke with your therapist, and there was some very wise words that came out of it. There was some very breakthrough moments and stuff, I'm sure, that like helped you to realize things you would have never realized otherwise. Whereas I feel like there are times where people like might hear one of their favorite content creators say something, or you know, they might just, if you reach out to somebody like out of the blue and say like, hey, my brother just killed the entire clan, you know, I feel like I might leave the village soon. You know, sometimes they're not always going to know what to say. If you put them on the spot like that and stuff. But like, there's a lot going on in the world. You know, don't ever hesitate to reach out to like. I mean, there's tons of sources and stuff for things like that, and you know, sometimes professional help. Like, you know, even though there's a bit of a what we would even call it, like a little bit of
connotation.
No, like some people
stigma.
Stigma there. Yeah. There's a little bit of a stigma there for some people. Like, I feel like that's lessening, and there shouldn't be one there. So, like I said, always.
That's the big thing I've really liked. I mean, social media has introduced a lot of ugly things, but one of the things I really, really like is the fact that you're able to express things like that. It's a lot more common to talk about, hey, look, don't trivialize a traumatizing experience or a bad thing that's happened to you. You know, understand if you're being taken advantage of, manipulated, or used. You know, it's just, there's a lot more means of people reaching out and saying, hey, look, it's okay to do this. And you're seeing these tweets gain massive likes and retweets, which I think sends the right message. Let people know that. Speak up if you're not well. Anyway, there's no shame in that. Hey, look, everyone deals with shit. And yes, everyone's got their own shit. Doesn't mean that you can't talk about it. Because that's the thing. Like, that was always the mentality. Somebody's always got it worse. So who gives a shit?
Absolutely.
Whatever. Like, just put on your back and just go. Like, you live a pretty good life as is. You don't need to complain about that. But that's just it. It's like, then before you know it, you're carrying all this other stuff around. Now you're an adult, and now you're trying to deal with this other baggage as well. And that's the biggest thing I regret. But at the same time, I don't anymore, because it's allowed me to become who I am now. I wouldn't be who I am now without those experiences. So I'm really glad that it did happen.
I agree.
It's
and
the
I think
classic quote.
Part of what made me like, you know, say that and stuff is because since a lot of people don't know really where to reach out, like, well, guys like me or even Cyanide here and stuff might be able to offer like words of positivity and support, like just general motivation, especially Cyanide. He's great for motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's times where if you're like, if you just go to somebody at random and say, hey, you know, A, B, C, D, E, and F are all happening at the same time stuff, talk me through this. There's times like, not everybody's going to know what to say, you know? Like, they're not...
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't trained for that, and then there's a lot of pressure about, like, maybe saying the wrong thing and stuff. So, like I said, never be afraid to actually go to where there are people that are, you know, are trained to know what to say and, you know, that deal with that as a profession and whatnot. So.
My big thing whenever I would talk with someone was always be like, hey, look, I'm not a professional, but what I can do is help, you know, get you to a point where you can feel more comfortable for going in and talking to someone, like establishing, hey, look, it's okay to do that. You know, it's not as it is terrifying initially. It is scary, but it's not as much as you may think it is. You can do it. You deserve to be well. You deserve to be happy. You know, that's a lot of something. And Evan, I'm pretty sure you probably established that as well. You know, with someone else, it's like letting them know, hey, look, it's all right. You know, you can talk about this. You can do it. It's okay.
Yes.
There's no shame in it. Because that's a big thing internally. I think we can all relate to that. It's just, you know, there's a certain amount of things we can carry. I went through a breakup before that was really rough on me afterwards, and it was difficult to really talk about it. And finding someone that I could, and that I could relate to, and that they could talk to me about the awful relationship they were in at the moment was really great for both of us in being able to move forward and get to better places. But that's the thing is, like, that I was fortunate enough to have that situation. But without it, I mean, like, you know, even then, it took me like 2 years really to move on. And there was always a part of me like, oh, I look back and it's shame, it's embarrassment, it's frustration, irritation. But, like, I know why it was. I know it, like, it was burnout from years prior from a rough environment and a rough job. And then with that on top of it, it's just, they built up. I shattered like a dam. I'm human. It's going to happen. It was about understanding and accepting that. You know, and that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said and stuff. There's no shame in that. Like, we're all learning all the time. We're improving each day. I mean, you word it. You articulate it a lot better than I ever do. But I always say the same thing. I'm always like, hey, I suck. Every day I'm gonna try to suck a little bit less. And you know,
I love that, Jordan.
Gonna make that new hat. You know, today I suck less than yesterday.
Well, I mean, I kind of got that and stuff. Just, you know, growing up, you know, that was my dad's like catchphrase, like, especially like he coached me a lot in basketball and stuff, so there's a lot of times he'd pull a teammate over the side, he's like, hey, we need to quit sucking, and then that's the advice, and a lot of times it works, you know, sometimes, or suck a little bit less, and then I feel like it can kind of sound mean, like, for a second stuff, but even when you're telling it to yourself, like, you know, it's come from a place of love, you know, you want to suck a little bit less every day, you're never gonna be perfect, but you know,
just suck
like
a
I said,
less.
improve.
So, to go to a little bit more positive note, Cyanide, I need to know how you find all these weird and bizarre games that you play. I guess they're not weird and bizarre, but they're very old. And it's like, how do you happen upon... Yeah, they're obscure. How do you happen upon these? And, like, what are some games that you really enjoy that are lesser-known gems you want people to know about?
I mean, boy,
that's
like...
a big question.
Jeez, yeah, I don't even know where I'd begin with something like that. But what I can tell you, it started because my dad loved to not only embrace common and, like, of the time technology, but he was also a fan of keeping track of a lot of stuff that he enjoyed. So growing up, big thing I was introduced to were a lot of older shows. I remember as a kid being sick and my dad being like, laughter's the best medicine, and he shows me Three Stooges, black and white and everything. I'm like, what? And I just thought it was hilarious. I dug the heck out of it. But that's the thing. It was just having someone that was so open to those kind of things. I got into video games because my dad, like, my parents owned an Intellivision game console from way back in the day, like 70s. And, you know, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I remember my dad having, like, an early laptop, and then, like, he bought Doom, Quake, Wolfenstein 3D, and stuff like that. Like, he was buying these kind of things. I wasn't really into games till we were getting, like, game consoles, myself and my sister, as like, Christmas gifts. And then, of course, I'm sure later on he's like, oh, why on earth did I do that? That's a terrible idea. But it was a great opportunity to explore a whole new world because I loved reading as a kid. I loved books. ADHD kid, but I could sit down and read for hours. And that was sort of the thing is, especially when I got into JRPGs, it was just finding the whole medium fascinating. And a lot of it just stems from the fascination. You know, I love I love film noir. I love 50s, 60s, 70s detective shows. You know, Humphrey
Ooh,
Bogart.
okay.
Oh, I dig the hell of his acting
Uh-huh.
capabilities. So I have a broad spectrum of range of things that I enjoy, and I like learning about things and how they were done. So Tales of Fantasia and Star Ocean for the Super Famicom games came out about 1995, 1996, respectively. The thing that really fascinates me about them is that they utilize a compression chip within them that allowed for additional voice work to be put in the game, which for cartridge-based games was ridiculous at the time. And it's just it's that idea of going beyond what was capable, or like trying to create games that have real book audio, which is CD level quality audio on CD-based games in the early 90s. Just seeing how advanced things were in comparison to how I perceived them as a kid, as an adult, is just, oh my gosh, that's so incredible for me. I love going back and watching things or revisiting things that I didn't older. Final Fantasy VII Remake, when that came out, I bought a PlayStation and Final Fantasy VII when it came out, saved up for years to buy this thing. And I played the F out of that game. I loved Final Fantasy VII. So playing the remake, it was nostalgic as all get out. But it was really great because I got a chance to perceive it through new eyes, through eyes of far more years of experience, and just seeing how I processed information, seeing the changes that were done, seeing how certain moments registered with me, the nostalgia brought back, the memories it brought back. I find things like that to be really interesting and really fascinating. And I don't know, it's just seeing how certain things were done then, how they were approached, despite limitations or despite restrictions or whatever may be, as opposed to what's done now. I find that to be interesting. It's not so much rose-tinted nostalgia, but more childlike curiosity. I always refer to myself as a big kid, which is why, like, CyanideBlizzard is CyanideBlizzard. I use my real name, but I don't fully put myself out there because, real me is more composed. I sit back more, Evan. I handle things a little bit differently.
Ooh.
But, when I'm on here, I'm a big kid, and I get to tap into this stuff that I don't get a normal chance to talk about because they're all parts of me. We are multifaceted. We are multidimensional. We're playing multidimensional chess, if you will. But no, in all seriousness, there are so many parts to us, and they all make up who we are. They don't generally define who we are, as I said before, but they all make up elements of us. And I love being able to tap into certain things, and one of the things I like being able to do is look into that kind of stuff. So one of the things that I really got a chance to experience, because I never got a chance to growing up, was a Lunar Silver Star. Fascinating title, cost about $2.5 million US to make back in 1992. $2.5 million! Unreal Tournament in, what was that, like 1999? Cost, like Epic Mega Games, $1 million to make. The game was phenomenal as an arena shooter, but, like, I'm massively dating myself talking about this stuff, but, like, Lunar...
Yeah, you are.
Lunar, like, cost $2.5 million, came out in 1992. Like, that's just the drive and ambition companies had to produce games that were continuing to push beyond boundaries is just phenomenal. Because nowadays, it's like, you need to have a budget or connections like a Hideo Kojima and produce a game like Death Stranding to really just like, whoa, but that's why a game like PT was so fascinating, and why the corporate side of Konami bungling that is even more fascinating. But it's just seeing something like that come out, seeing it produce the reaction that it does. I live for stuff like that, and I live for seeing those kind of things, seeing the processes that were done, how things were handled then to get us to where we're at now. We learn so much from history. I know so many people, when I used to do first impressions of shows like Junketsu no Maria or Yojo Senkai, I'd always get people who very strongly, vehemently react if we fungled or screwed up some kind of historical thing. And it's because they came in with a passion, a very prevalent passion that I saw on none of the other first impressions I did. And I really like that level of passion because they're very enthusiastic about that material, about the knowledge behind that. And my aspect has always just been, that's interesting, but what about this? Like, I like to joke around that my head is full of useless information. You ask me something important, you want me to do some trigonometry, but I mean, boy, you ask me something useless, oh, I got you covered, man. Ooh. If I could make money on useless information, let me tell you, I'd be living in
you
a
got
mansion
that
of
Jeopardy
gold.
brain.
So.
See,
Yeah.
is it really useless information though? Because I feel like
No, I mean, it's all
it is,
all
but
useful
it
stuff,
has
right?
meaning to you. So, and I find a lot of that stuff fascinating. That's one of the main reasons I feel like I could sit there and talk to you all day, because you just know so much about a lot of things that a lot of people wouldn't know about. Like,
Well, Jordan, you know
Well, I guess
from
that
the
brings
early
up a-
rant cafes, like, and Spooks, you were on one of those as well that I was on, and it's just like, I love
Oh, yeah,
being able
that's
to
how I met
talk
you.
about that stuff. I love being able to
what?
go into those kind of things. I love researching and looking into it, because it's just the aspect of learning something new, trying something new, which ultimately results in me being a jack of all trades, master of none, but I love learning new things. I love expanding my mind, broadening my perspective, and all that just ties into it. It's just, I bounce around to a lot of different things as a result. I end up with a lot of ideas that end up getting scrapped too, but I love the aspect of doing that. That took
Brandon
forever to
Bailey
answer your
asked us
question,
to
but
be-
there you go.
That you did somehow along the way.
We got
So
there.
Brandon, I always
Who knew?
ask. I always ask how you meet our guests. I didn't ask how you met Cyanide. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Well, Cyanide used to be, back when Rant Cafe was in its baby form, Cyanide used to be one of the regular co-hosts. And I was on an episode one time, and I just remember, I was like, man, that is a really positive, lovely guy that I got to speak to on there. And then obviously I was only on a small handful during that period, and just an even smaller handful as it progressed later on. But yeah, that's how we met back in that time.
That's awesome. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
And he's a very unforgettable individual.
no, I remember he made a huge impact on me whenever I first started actually listening and watching the Rant Cafe and stuff, just because I was like, he came across as so knowledgeable and articulate, kind of like he does now. I mean, it's the same
Yeah,
way, but then he, not only that, he's like one of those guys, like, you instantly start looking up to him in that way, and I still consider him like my YouTube senpai, if you will, or one of them.
not gonna put up with
you
this
learn
slander.
a lot.
Just blasphemy,
The slander.
lies, and
He doesn't.
deceit.
I know he doesn't want to be associated with me, but I mean, I still learn a lot. Like,
Unbelievable.
I remember looking up and doing some research for a fairly recent video, like Phantom Requiem for the Phantom. I did a Why You Should Watch video on that, because it's an older series a lot of people don't know about. And we were talking about games earlier that never get never really come over to the States. Well, there was 4 or 5 different versions of Phantom that just never got translated. But there was one crappy DVD version that we got. A lot of people weren't a big fan of it, because it's just it had a lot of issues with it, translation errors, things of that nature. And I just remember bringing that up, talking to Cyanide one night and stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah, I have that game." I never talked to anybody else that even heard of it, because it was such an obscure game over here. It was one crappy DVD release, and that's all we got. And that was my main reason a lot of people hadn't heard of the series in that video. But of course, Cyanide, he
and I
not
owned
only
it at
heard of
one
He's
point.
like, I own that game.
Of course he knew. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've actually got a little piece of breaking news.
Oh.
boys. So I don't know how you guys feel about this, as I will talk about it. I don't know if we even have a lot to say, but it happened as we are live, so it is very new. But YouTube has terminated Leafy is Here.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they terminated Leafy is Here.
He was
His whole
trending. All his new videos were trending. What?
What was
Didn't he
he
make a
terminated
bunch of
after?
videos on Pokemon and stuff, or?
Yeah.
He was making a bunch of videos on Pokemon recently for his return, and a couple of them were on YouTube trending.
Yeah.
And then, as we're speaking, I just clicked on Twitter real quick, and he's trending. I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's deleted. So I just, it's happening right now. That's the news. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Personally, it definitely shows that YouTube has changed a lot from
Man.
good old 2016, but
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not very knowledgeable in that regard. I don't know a thing about Leafy, but that sucks for him. I don't. That's crazy. That his whole channel is just. I wonder why. What's the reasoning behind it? Was it copyright stuff or just,
severe harassment and bullying targeted towards people. So
is it because he
I
made
mean,
videos on Pokemon? Did she report him or something?
I mean,
and YouTube
maybe.
got down,
That's
or?
the
definitely
thing.
what people are gonna. Yeah.
I don't
it
even
could be
feel like
from
he was
his
that.
backlog. It could be his new videos. I don't
maybe.
know, but
I don't even feel like
I-
he was that passionate about the Pokemon videos from what I heard.
No,
It
he's
was just
not.
one of those things where he
Oh, he's
said,
not.
No way.
Yeah. No, he just said in the videos, he's like, yeah, I'm just totally doing this for the views,
Yeah.
I mean, half of
Outright
them he would title it about Pokemon. He'd
And
say
not
like
just
that, right?
talk about
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
else.
and then he'd talk
Yeah.
about the stock market or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, Okay, but
Like, I respect
don't
it.
For me, it's just mainly disappointing the fact that, like, take YouTubers like good old Filthy Frank, right? Like, back when he was at his prime, you know, YouTube was like the Wild West. And now it's coming to the point where these commentary channels who are so popular and prevalent and controversial are now just, you know, deleted in good old 2020. It's just very sad to see.
Frank was
Didn't
so
Hair
ahead of the curve.
Didn't Hair
there.
Cake get deleted?
Oh, yeah, I did. Hair Cake's also deleted.
I
so
never
it's like,
watched
you know,
that because that's gross. But...
It's really gross, but it's an important
do you think
achievement in internet
so?
culture.
Oh, an achievement.
The fact that it
says.
was up and it stayed up is...
I don't know. It brings up the whole broader thing of censorship.
I mean,
it's just really disappointing to see.
No, it really does.
is.
It's an important discussion.
I've even seen people in our like small anime community and stuff talking about it recently. Like I think the Anime Man, no relation. Like even he had a tweet the other day where he was like, you know, he put like some time into a video and he's like, I already know it's gonna get demonetized and stuff. So like, thankfully I got a sponsor.
Yeah.
But like, he's like, come on YouTube, like why is like censorship such a big thing now? Like why? I can't remember how he worded it, but you know, just addressing things like that. I feel like everybody's starting to feel that stuff more and think about it more.
I talked about this on my stream once before, but like back when there used to be like gosh, what they have like there were channels that you could go through, like big companies. Machinima was one of them, and they'd essentially like partner up with you, and you could go through that network, and it's like it'd be a nice opportunity to make additional money on top of what you were doing. And that's the thing, you could make a sustainable living off of just doing YouTube, but it's like now it's just you need Patreon, you need to stream, you need merch, you need to have donations, like you need to have all these things because it's just there's no way, like not even like the adpocalypse was one thing, but it's oh my gosh, it's just it
or you
really
need
hurts.
startup capital. You need to have like a business plan if you're planning on making a YouTube channel now.
Realistically, you really do.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of a lot of the censorship that goes on with it, and the fact that you know, I feel like YouTube just give the creators some slack. Like they're the whole platform is built based off of individual creators.
Yeah.
And
I think there should obviously be a line. I feel like that's important for everything. Like that's why a copyright system needs to be in place.
There should, but YouTube Kids exists for a reason, and it's like they want all the
yeah, but
it's like they want all the
can't...
content to be child kid friendly or whatever.
But
you don't want somebody
like when that ISIS video was up. And
yep,
like,
I know where Brandon's going.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say like you also don't want somebody, for instance, like uploading pornography, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's
Obviously,
not
that's
what YouTube is for. That's like that's a clear line. You could say, okay, that's not allowed on YouTube, but you know, let's say good old Nux over here doesn't do anything wrong, and it's like, oh, demonetized again. It's like
no, literally, I remember playing. I don't think you'll mind this. Like, what was he doing? Like, he was having people send him clips, right? Like for a video that he was doing as we were playing Apex or something one night, and he like sent it to the Discord chat and stuff. He's like, check this out, that what somebody just sent me, and it's on YouTube. It's literally just straight up hentai in the thumbnail and everything else monetized. There's an ad playing.
Oh, monetized.
There is hentai on YouTube.
Like they're not going to catch all that stuff, but like the fact that stuff like that still gets through, and then you have videos that might slightly mention like nothing even wrong with them and stuff that just get hit with like a lot of, I think some creators get like blacklisted, like Nux and stuff probably, that where it's like, hey, they upload and you got to check out the video first before it's ever even.
Yeah.
Like, it's just automatic yellow. Like,
I
don't know. I'm not a big fan of it.
I wish it was back when, you know, it was all about self-expression back in the good old YouTube days, but now it's just
the video that Nux linked us is down now. It was removed.
No.
I'm sure it would be eventually, yeah, but like it's not gonna stay up. But,
no, I know, but it's just like I just wanted to check to see if it was still up. So I know what you're saying. It's not to like counter your discussion point, but
I need
sure
to research that. Can you send that here?
I mean, let me just do like a very quick.
It's just like blew my mind that
Brandon's gonna have hentai recommendations.
Yeah,
on his
like
channel
okay,
all the
so
time.
basically, I won't disclose what it is just because I want to keep it on the down low. But basically, there's this so a very popular old mangaka. They're known for many other different series. If you guys want to know, I'll tell you secretly off the podcast.
Sweet.
But basically, so in my big research for all these different live action manga adaptations, right? There's this one series that has 11 movies, okay? And it's basically a borderline hentai.
Oh, good.
And a lot of these movies you can watch in full on YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, it's just kind of like, I'm getting over here like, oh, I can't say frick.
Yeah.
But you click on this and this person's, lunging forward with their vagina
And
in their
got
face.
wieners,
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just very upsetting.
It's got to the point where they start to censor like the content matter, or like just the content matter in videos of certain creators and stuff, more so than like Nux might have a video that just talks about Schmittai, and obviously he's never seen a Schmittai in his life, so he's not gonna
He's a good boy.
include any pictures or anything like that. Like even if there's zero visual inclusion and stuff, just the mere mention of certain words and stuff is gonna get that on YouTube's blacklist or whatever. Like they don't want that on there, and obviously like I don't know, like you don't want like straight up porn being listed, but like videos that talk about certain subjects, like if it's just a news channel, I don't see why there's so much censorship on that. Like I don't know.
And Nerd City did a cool video on this where he like identified some of the hidden like words that trigger the algorithm and stuff like that trigger the demonetization. And it's like,
and
why
also,
don't they at least say that? Like, if they're going to censor and they're going to be like, this, we need to be business friendly, we need to be advertiser friendly, here's what you need to do. Like, that's what they should do.
We said that would help, but why would you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When they could just make it be very difficult to figure out, and someone else needs to make a video on it.
It's like for any anime creator, it's like, everyone's trying to figure out the right number of seconds to keep of an actual anime in a video without it getting hit with a copyright strike. It's like there's always a sweet spot, this different number. Everyone's trying to find out what it is. There's no universal number that's acceptable. It's just like, let's see what we can do to get around the system. So
YouTube's copyright thing is so broken anyways. Like there's so many people you hear of that like just for fighting against a strike or whatever, they lose their channel or something. Like just randomly, like out of the blue. I've seen that happen a few times lately. And like you hear so many times where people can get strikes from anything. Like it can be a video of them sitting on their porch, just talking with a webcam, no editing, no nothing, like no pictures, no video. But it's like hit with a copyright strike from some random company, and they have to deal with that. Like I think Spooks, didn't you deal with copyright strikes like on all your Berserk videos there for a little bit, and like
it was One Punch Man. It was One Punch Man.
Was it One Punch Man?
Yeah, like
you could tell it was no official company or whatever.
Basically, it was also struck down before you had to disclose what media they were. I think the way it works is, at least with claims, you have to make sure that you're saying, hey, from this time signature to this time signature, this is our content, not his, and then we're going to claim it, right? But I think with strikes, you can just straight up say, hey, this video's mine, or the content in the video's mine, take it down, please. And my One Punch Man videos, which don't have anything in it that any of my other videos do, right? Like, nothing is so out of the ordinary that, like, other content I have would also be eligible to be striked. But they just got taken down, I'm guessing, solely because they were about One Punch Man and nothing else. And I got them reinstated, and then they got taken down again by a different email. Because, like, once you win a claim, YouTube kind of knows, like, oh, well, obviously this person who made the claim doesn't actually own it, so they probably can't strike it again, right? Like, they didn't go any further with the process, so maybe they're fubbing. So they just make a new email, and they just take it down again. So I just left them down for, like, half a year, and re-uploaded them, or just republished them, or I said that wrong. Basically, I made them public again, and now they're fine. But just the fact that, you can get struck down at any time really sucks. And YouTube also has this weird, stupid thing that I really hate, right?
Oh, yes,
so basically, you have to email their creator support and be like, well, okay, so you fight the strike, but sometimes what YouTube will do is they will say, hey, we reviewed your counterclaim, and we don't think so we're not going to send it over. So they're taking away your ability to fight the claim by just not sending it,
that's
right?
what I was talking about.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that at all. Like,
yeah. So
like the fact that they've started deleting channels over like claims that like never even go through. Like the fact that people like are willing to go to court if they have to, but like they just lose their channel instead because they won't even put the claim through. Like they won't even let them fight it. Like,
so like what you have to do is you have to go to creator support and you have to email them and be like, hey, like I literally own the rights to this, or it's fair use, and I want to be able to fight this, so send my claim over. And eventually, after emailing them enough, they'll realize that they're being idiots, and they'll actually send it over.
Maybe.
Like,
I mean,
at least with my experience.
That's what I'm saying.
If you say, like, hey, I have the legal rights, I've talked to a lawyer, yada, 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 like, they really have no choice, because otherwise they're getting in the way of the legal process. And they probably don't want that either, because then they
Yeah.
could get in trouble.
Yeah.
So, like, the thing that's so stupid about it is, so I had 2 videos that were striked at the same time, and then I was able to private, like, I think the third one I had before that got struck down. But basically, the 2 that were struck down, I used the same exact, like, reasoning in both of my counter submissions, because you have to type out, like, you know, why you're doing it, and yada yada, like, they have this whole form. So I typed, like, the same description out when I was submitting my counterclaims, and one went through, but the other one didn't. And it's like, I literally said the same exact thing in both ones, so why is this one okay, but this one's not? It makes no sense. So I feel like it's just an automated system that they don't even look at. It's just like, oh, well, did they have the right words in this? Or maybe that since they're sending 2, let's just make it harder for them.
No, I had a copy-paste
let
formula
one through.
for mine. 5 of them I got demonetized. One of them, they refuted it, and then I resubmitted the counterclaim, and then they just took down my channel for violating terms of service. So they didn't tell me why.
my God.
So I ended up making a new
Awesome.
channel. But yeah, it's like, you don't know. The big machine, you're
I
just
mean-
like, I understand.
I always like, and what I ended up starting doing and stuff, especially after H3 won that one case against the dude that was like, you know, they
The
went to court
reaction
with and stuff. Yeah, it was.
clown
I don't.
thing?
It was based more on reaction content and stuff. But what I always do and stuff now is like I cite that case and stuff that like fair use is
Yeah.
a thing and stuff like. And if you cite like an actual case, like I feel like that's helped me out a little bit maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, I used to be
But-
just too scared to even try to, you know, fight claims or whatever or copyright stuff. Where half the time I don't even think the company, like like if you're in the right and stuff and it just automatically put as copyright, half the time, in my experience, they're like
Yeah.
if you fight it and stuff, then they don't even respond or they'll give you the.
Well, it's because they don't want to take. They don't actually want to take you to court. Like if they're
Yeah.
claiming your video, they just want to make money from it.
Exactly.
'Cause even if they don't actually own it, because like with my Dragon Ball video, for instance, right? That I had some issues with that getting claimed here and there, like when I was first trying to upload it. And one of the things that was getting claimed was like the very first movie, which is unofficial, and it was made in South Korea, I'm pretty sure. And it's like, okay, they don't even have the rights to make this movie. Yet you're telling me that some random company in California has the rights to said bootleg movie. Yeah, no, that's not true at all. You don't have the rights to this, so I'm going to fight this claim. Because if not even the people who made the movie have the rights, what makes you think you have the rights? Random stupid company? You don't. You're just trying to take advantage of properties that nobody has a legal right to, trying to say that you do. So I'm like, all right, I'm fighting this.
Yeah.
And they literally just waited the timer out because
There's-
they're not actually going to take you to court. you know?
That's like a business unto itself now and stuff. There's so many companies that have like departments, you know, set aside just for people to go through and
Oh, yeah.
claim videos and stuff and claim the revenue and stuff from it. Like especially in the music,
Oh, yeah.
music and stuff.
That
It's
was really bad for a while.
Yeah,
They would claim like literally like people just singing
humming
words.
it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
It's like, oh, that melody
Couple
belongs
seconds.
to this song. Claim it. Claim it.
The whole video is ours. We get all the revenue. Yeah. It's-
Yeah, and even think though, like it is a smart business decision, even if it's completely wrong, right? Like take
Yeah.
Mr. Beast, like 20 million videos or 20 million views a video, like that's stupid money. And all this company needs to do is just say, oh, hey, they used this of ours, we're gonna take all of that, and they can get away with it. Like
Yeah.
why?
No
At the
work
end of the
put
day,
into
why
it.
wouldn't you take advantage of that if you want money? It's greed, pure
Yeah.
corporate greed.
100%. Yeah.
True
Corporations
story.
don't have
Based
morals,
on
man.
facts.
No, they don't. And you can't necessarily like hold them to having morals because they're amoral, right? All they care about, we talked about this earlier, is making money.
Yep.
And so if there's something that's a threat to them making money, they're
Well,
gonna
that's
get rid
what. That's why I think there needs to be like more. It's tough because it's an international thing, but I think there needs to be a lot more. What do you call it? Clarification on a lot of copyright laws
Uh-huh.
and stuff. It's just such a gray area on a lot of things.
Yeah, it is.
It's tough to work through and stuff, especially if you're an independent creator and you don't even want to go through the potential hassle of having to go against some company with a bunch of lawyers and everything
Yeah.
else.
Not everyone
Even
is
if you are in the
PewDiePie
right,
or
yeah.
H3 that can afford a lawsuit like to go through
Oh,
for
yeah.
that sort of precedent, you know.
And
So-
even then, some
Nope.
things like good old I'll say this real
No,
quick.
you
And
go
then
ahead,
Even some
please.
things like the good old Article 13 scare that we were having for a while there, at least
Oh,
for
yeah.
people over in good old Europe. It's like you know, the government can just come in at any time and try and set those ground rules because like right now, like you said, it is a gray area. So the problem is. All it would take is just a few people who don't understand why fair use is important to just ruin it for everybody
Yeah.
at the same time.
It's terrifying.
You know, it's one of those things where I'm a big fan of PewDiePie, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
but I remember one thing I was kind of disappointed in And I know it's like you can't really expect him to do this because it's not if he doesn't want to go out of his way to and stuff. It's not his place. But like I was really hoping he would have fought it back whenever he he had a bunch of like Blitz plays for a certain game, right? And that game had on their website that you can play through it and it's fair use and stuff that like obviously you can stream it, you can do all this stuff. But then PewDiePie went through those controversies, so like they decided they didn't like him personally, and then they like manually claimed his stuff. So like whenever they did that, obviously he just privated all the videos and stuff like where like they couldn't do it anymore, and he just got rid of that, which is the easier thing to do. But I really wish he would have like fought that in course and stuff just to get clarification on that, because he had every bit of legal. I feel like every little legal backing that he needed just by the fact that they had that it was fair use on their website and stuff. Like they can't decide after the fact years later that hey, we don't like this guy, so we're gonna go claim his videos, so take down his channel. Yeah. Like that was like such a messed up thing that like I really wish he would have fought that. I'm sorry, that was a little bit of a rabbit hole, but like a
no,
very
it
specific
totally
issue.
connects.
I wish he would have too.
No,
I guess it also comes down to like how much effort.
That's what I'm saying. You can't really expect him to put that much time and effort into something like that.
It was an interesting situation because the game was Firewatch, and the thing it came around the same time where PewDiePie had dropped the N-bomb, and it was kind of one of those things where like the one of the lead individuals behind the studio was just like, we don't want you playing our game, we don't want to be associated with you, so we're going to issue a DMCA on your video. And look, like obviously what he said is what he said, but I mean that's at the same time, fair use is like a very different matter in regards to that and how it was utilized in terms of that. Yeah, that's
it's not even just fair use, it's the fact that they specifically had the fair use. The fact that there was fair use and stuff to be able to play that on their website too. Like I remember that's what really went over the hill for it for me, because sure, fair use is a gray area, but whenever you specifically state that anybody can do it, and then you go back months or years later or whatever and strike somebody you don't like I feel like that's something that needs to be addressed to where there's not as much of a gray area there. I don't know.
No, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, obviously. It's like the reaction to it was a personal gut reaction, which by all means, like I more than get that, because that's a pretty despicable thing to say. But like in a business sense, you can't use personal within the business sense. So yeah,
you can't let your personal emotions dictate the legality of something like that. Like that, I don't like him, therefore I'm gonna try to take down his channel. Like I don't think that's right, even if like that person did nothing wrong illegally.
It's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it is interesting because the intellectual property, like, it's already sold. Like, he already paid for that property, and granted, like, that's a license to the property. It's not necessarily a license to stream it or make commentaries with it, whatever. And so, like, the fact that they didn't like what he did and tried to claim the money that he was making from it.
I don't think they necessarily tried to claim the money. They just tried to strike him and like strike his channel.
Yeah, they were trying to
private everything.
Okay.
They were trying to. That's why I said he could have lost his channel like basically over. Like I think had it gotten that serious, he probably would have fought it. But like the fact that they even like tried to just strike his channel, give him a strike down his videos for something that like they had specifically stated on the website that anybody could play and stream. Like I don't know. That went all over me. That specific example.
All right. Well, to go to another positive topic here, another more fun one for us, I have a game prepared for everyone involved in this call, including me.
Gamer girl time.
Let's
do it.
So, we are going to... This is actually a game that Brandon and I have played before called Master Debaters. Okay?
Oh, yes.
And it's specifically the Smosh edition, but that doesn't have anything to do with what the questions are. So, I'm going to do the two sushi co-hosts versus Cyanide and the Anime Dude YT on twitch.tv/theanimedude.yt.
The old Michael Jordan combo. Let's do it.
So,
you guys ain't ready.
I'm going to let you guys pick one or two. I'm going to read a question, and there's going to be two answers to it. And so whatever number you pick is the side you have to debate for, okay? And then we will have to respond, and we'll alternate. So you guys will pick the first one, You'll pick the number first, and then we'll pick the number first, okay?
And then what are we doing? Like, we arguing or?
And then the debate, we're gonna give one of you guys about a minute to discuss your side, and then one of us will take a minute, and then we'll do a 30-second rebuttal from the other person.
Man, you should have chosen a different game. I'm a master debater, man. I've been practicing my whole life. I got this down.
I think you're underestimating Brandon's master debating skills.
Let's see if I still got it.
All right, so you guys need to pick one or two. You can work together to decide which number you'd like for this debate.
Cyanide, which one do you want?
My good man, I know you're feeling the number already, and I want you to go with the
I'm number one, so...
I was going to say, let's do it.
All right,
we're number one. That's the place we're going to come in.
So, the question is, which type of cookie is better? So number one, the one you get, is chewy cookies. And we have to debate and say crunchy cookies are the best.
Oh, this is going to be easy because we're in the right. That makes it 100% easier to debate.
You better stop trying to take some extra time here. Time hasn't started yet for you guys, you little cheatsy cheater. Okay. So, Brandon, did you hear all that?
I did.
We are crunchy cookies.
I'll let you take this one first.
Oh, wonderful. I would really like to.
Yes. Jordan, I know you got this.
So I'm going to start the 1 minute timer now. Who would like to begin on the Michael Jordan team?
I mean, I can if I need to.
Jordan, I know you got this. I'm feeling it.
Okay.
All right. So then for the next question, we'll alternate rules. So I'll have the 30-second one, and you'll have the 30-second one next time. Jordan, okay? All right. So when you're ready, let me know, and I'll start a timer.
I'm ready.
All right, go.
All right. So soft cookies are obviously the best cookies, and arguably... The less cooked a cookie is, the better. Cookie dough is a thing for a reason. People love to eat cookie dough, right? So then when they put it in the oven, why would you thoroughly cook it all the way? Why would you want it crunchy when you could have it soft, melting in your mouth, just seamlessly delicious? All right, like fresh out of the oven cookies that Grandma makes. Those aren't ever crunchy. Those are fresh and warm and soft and like I said, they melt in your mouth. Am I allowed to have anybody else chip in on this, or I don't really feel like it's pretty self-evident. To be honest, I don't.
You can end your argument early if you want.
Okay, yeah, that's all I really need to say. To be honest.
All right, that's what you have to say. You had 19 seconds left, but strong case. Yeah. But it's okay. I'm gonna throw it out the window right now. So why would you want a chewy, undercooked raw cookie? Yuck. You can get salmonella from that? No thank you. E. coli? Nope. There's already corona going around. I'm not trying to get other illnesses too. So I'm going to take myself a crunchy cookie. You know what kind of cookies are crunchy? Oreos. Oreos and milk, American pastime. Wonderful. Wonderful cookie. Okay. Crunchy cookies like the little Elmer, the elf guy. His cookies, they're pretty good, aren't they? I think so. The best type of cookie, in my opinion, isn't one that's like raw and soft and all gross. It's got a little bite when you're biting into it. It has structure. That's what makes a crunchy cookie way better than a soft cookie, because there's no way a crunchy cookie is going to be raw and gross, okay? Like, if you burn a cookie, throw it out. Get it out of here. But crunchy cookies are the best. I rest my case.
Can I refute that with one sentence real quick?
You don't get to refute it.
Okay.
Cyanide does.
Michael, I trust that you will catch all the
no table talk.
What he said.
No table talk.
You said it perfectly right there. Oreos and milk. But the thing that you missed on there is when you dunk an Oreo in milk, what does it become? Soft, chewy, delicious. See, that's the thing. They knew that when making Oreos, that while you can eat them as is, you dunk them in milk, ooh, they become a fine kind of goodness. Soft, gooey, fresh from the oven. You're right, salmonella is important. Food poisoning, yuck. But that doesn't mean that a gooey cookie is undercooked. Nah, it's just right. Melt in your mouth goodness. Just like Grandma would make. Cookies are done. Oh, I can smell them. Grandma, I'm coming home.
Done. Get done.
Does that mean it's my turn to rebuttal this
So
time?
let me know when you're ready. I'll
I'm
start
so proud of you,
it.
Cyanide.
I'm ready immediately.
You're born ready. All right, go.
Yes. All right, Cyanide, here's the thing. You just activated my damn trap card, okay? Because the beauty of the crunchy cookie is the fact that it can become soft with a little bit of milk. You get the option to get it soft, okay? You guys are stuck over here with your soggy, falling apart ass cookies. Nah, dog. I get to make my cookie whatever I want. Do I want it crunchy from the start? Good, let's fucking go. Do I want it to be a little bit melt in your mouth? Oh, dude, dunk it in some milk. Milk's favorite cookie, the Oreo, the crunch. You just said all of that. You just destroyed your own argument by showing how superior the crunchy cookie is.
I think
All
we
right.
went that pretty
I
obviously.
people in the chat and in the YouTube comment section will tell us who won.
Ooh.
Cyanide. May I just say that you went straight to what was exactly on my mind. I'm so proud of you. That Michael Jordan connection is real.
Oh, that's it. All right,
I don't know,
Brandon,
I
you
think
get to
we
pick.
won personally.
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
won too. I think
You know what?
What?
clutched
I
it.
want number 2 because 2 is better than 1.
Okay. All right. Well, then we can't do that one. So, okay. So we'll do this one. All right. I guess. Well, we can do that one. Never mind. I'll go back to the first one. So, this one is kind of an interesting one. We need.
Oh.
So the rule you selected for us was defend that person's friend. So that means we need them to go first and talk about something that they will never forgive a friend for.
Oh, okay.
Do you hear
And
that,
we have to
Cyanide?
defend that friend. Oh, good.
And we get to defend the friend. So this has to be. This has to be at least.
What?
So Cyanide needs to tell his side of the story is express something that is unforgivable that a friend's done, and so let's keep it realistic and let's keep it like not
Like within the
too
past
bad.
5 minutes?
Not too bad within the past 5 minutes.
This is gonna be
Cyanide,
good.
are you okay?
I'm
very
ready.
confused. I'm concerned.
I'm looking
All right.
forward to this because this is gonna be good. I actually got a real life example here.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, and begin.
You know, it's a fascinating thing with a friend is trust. Trust is an important factor, but most important trust is trust that they will not betray bond that you share with someone else. So there's nothing quite like hearing about your best friend performing oral on your girlfriend. See, that's the kind of bond that shatters apart there. It's the distrust that is established from that bond, that sanctimony between friends, that you don't tap the other friend's girl. Cannot be broken.
Okay.
Okay.
That's where you
I think
ended?
I got this, Evan. I think I got
Okay.
this.
I'll give you each 30 seconds to defend. Okay? Because Cyanide only took 30 seconds explaining it.
Okay.
So, you ready, Brandon?
I'm ready, yeah.
All right, and go.
See, the thing is, Cyanide, I feel like there's some missing context here. Obviously, it is not okay to do your friend's girl. That is against the bro code. But I think in this particular situation, the thing you're forgetting about, the thing that they were very embarrassed to tell you, which is why they never did, is the fact that they got bit by a rattlesnake in the coochie. And there was a lot of venom, and the only way to get rid of snake venom in a, you can't get help situation. What is that exactly? It is to suck out the venom. So this man, he said, all right, dude, I know the bro code's on the line here, but I am getting down and I am sucking out this venom. I am saving the day. And that's exactly what that man did. Justice for my man.
That's great. Awesome. All right. Which one
And
of
then
you
I have to
wants to go
refute-
first? Which one of you
I
wants
have to
go
refute his
first?
refusal? Or,
Yeah, which one of you
I
wants
got
to go
this.
first?
I got this.
Okay. All right,
got it.
Jordan, and begin.
Okay, so you say that he made the decision to save her life. He decided to suck out the venom, and you say with such confidence that that was the right thing to do. But, good sir, whenever you're choosing between a life and the bro code, the code that we all live by and honor, how can you choose a life over that code? That code is more meaningful than life itself. Without it, there's just chaos. There's anarchy. There's no trust.
Time.
Oh.
All right. All right, Cyanide, would you like a chance to refute?
I think Jordan did a great job, actually.
Okay.
I can't
All
get
right.
involved there. I think Jordan covered exactly
Okay.
what I would have.
All right, so then I will begin and start. So, I think it's important to note that the act of saving a life is very noble, okay? And I think that saving the life of one of your bros' girls is a very noble bro code related thing to do, okay? And so, instead of knowingly letting her die, having that weight on your back that you let your friend's girl die because she got bit in the cooch by a rattlesnake is horrifying. I would never want that on my conscience. I rest my case. Wow, that one
Nice.
turned way better than it sure could have, Brandon.
Well, I knew the exact answer. I knew what the issue was. It just wasn't, communication. That's the that
That went in a direction I was
Yeah, I bet
thinking
you
that it
did.
would go someplace like that, but I did not expect the snake bite in the coochie.
Hey, nobody does. Okay, if anything, the snake violated the bro
Nobody
code. If anything, that snake is the bro code breaker, and they should be held
We're giving it the dirty look.
Oh man.
Team Michael Jordan, 1 or 2?
I still think we're number 1. I don't know. What do you think, Cyanide?
I'm
I feel
down
like
with
we're
that.
winning so far that obviously first place is the only place that suits us.
The
that one
only
number.
place that matters. We are
Alright.
number 1. Hey.
Okay, so you guys would rather live without Instagram, and we would rather live without YouTube. Okay? Yeah, Brandon, that's really exciting for you, isn't it?
This is an easy one for us to go.
All right,
Weird.
so who goes first on this round? Oh yeah, Jordan does.
Oh, I go first?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
yes.
I can go first.
Tell me when to start.
All right, and begin.
All right, so YouTube is a platform that has any content you could ever want. It's basically replacing TV, endless entertainment, terabytes of data uploaded in video format every single day. And you guys are saying that you'd rather have Instagram over that? Instagram is where people go to, here's a picture of my food. Here's a picture of my cat. I can live without that any day of the week. I don't even use Instagram. Like, who needs to sit there and look at all their friends' meals each day? If you have to choose between those two forms of entertainment, I feel like endless videos is obviously the way to go. Your favorite content creators like Too Spooky and CyanideBlizzard and the Anime Dude and American Sushi Podcast and things like that. There's just endless hours of entertainment there that you just won't be able to find on Instagram per se. Like, need I go on? I don't know. Like, what do people even use Instagram for? Have you seen the things on Instagram? There's nothing good comes out of Instagram.
Time.
Okay.
Oh, you played right into my hand, Jordan. So I will begin. All right. So you said, who even uses Instagram? Well, I sure don't. But what I do use an excessive amount is YouTube. And so if I lived without YouTube, you know how much time and energy each day that I'd be able to dedicate to improving myself as a person? To be able to learn a new task? To be able to learn a new skill? Hell, I could probably save the human race with the amount of time I spend on YouTube. If that goes somewhere else, oh my god, I could learn new languages. I could lift weights bigger than I've ever dreamed of. I could probably become an esper. With how much time I spend on YouTube, if I didn't have to spend all that time on YouTube, if I was unable to spend all that time on YouTube, I could, in fact, get incredible grades. I could do wonderful things out in the real world, out learning new skills, and, I spend too much time on YouTube as it is, so if I had to live without it, I think that time would be better spent going elsewhere and doing other things. Boom, done.
All right, then we
Thank
have to
you.
refute that refutal.
Yes, all right.
Cyanide.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right, let's go.
Easy.
All right, let's go.
Going to school for graphic design. The common source that we used above all else by my professors is YouTube. The amount of tutorials, the plethora of information out there at your fingertips to learn whatever you want to learn is there. All you simply need is a bit of time. Manage it appropriately, and the sky is the limit. You can achieve anything.
And that's it.
Okay, I think I'm ready,
Okay.
honestly.
I sure would be too. Go ahead.
All right, so first off, as a YouTuber myself, I can say that I have a big thumbs down for YouTube in this situation because A, YouTube does not like boobs, okay? Instagram does. Immediate 1 point for Instagram. 2, Instagram has way better ad rates and sponsorship deals. Dude, you market a freaking weight loss supplement, dude, $1 million in your pocket, dude. You upload a video on YouTube, bro, demonetized, you're fucking losing money. Screw that jazz, bro. I'm all about the Insta. Hashtag. Oh, does YouTube have hashtags? Yeah, but who the fuck uses them there? Nobody.
Time. I have to be as fair with the time as I am with them.
Yep, I understand. I think I said enough.
That was a very good one. All right. It's a
Wait,
brand
we get another chance to refute that? Otherwise,
No, you're done.
absolutely not.
You're
You're
done.
done.
You guys
I
lost.
think we might have lost
It's
that
that
one.
simple.
You lost. Sorry.
All right, we're down. We're up 2-1. All right,
Oh,
I'll give
well,
you that
That's debatable.
Yeah, definitely.
Just like this
debatable.
game.
Is
So
it?
anyway, Brandon, 1 or 2?
I'm gonna go with 1 just to spite these guys this
All
time.
right. Thank goodness.
Oh,
So,
good.
is social media destroying our world? We are saying yes. And Jordan and Cyanide are saying no. So, Brandon, when you're ready, you get to begin.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready? All right.
Yep.
Let's go.
All right, we live in the most depressing time of the age. Why is that? Because of social media. I guarantee you, every single one of us in this call, we wake up in the morning and we check our phones. Did we used to do that 20 years ago? No, because social media didn't frickin' exist. It's destroying all of us. You know, everyone out here insecure by everything they see on all the social media. Everyone's becoming sociopaths, for God's sake. Look at Jake Paul. Look what social media did to him. He could have been curing cancer by now. You know, his teachers didn't care about him because he was out there on the Vine. Screw that. You know, social media, it's just all about the disconnect. You know, we are more connected than ever, but are we really? The answer is no, because social media has ruined social aspects for us. That's all I have to say. That's all I need to say.
All right. So, Cyanide, whenever you're ready, let me know.
Okay, let's go.
Good to go? All right, begin.
Was at a P.F. Chang's. An old lady was talking to me. She was arguing incoherently. All the people at Raytheon, they're on their phones. They don't have girlfriends. They're just on their phones. Phones become an integrated part of our lives, and for the worst in some aspects. But on the other aspects, life is what we make of it. We can turn it around as well. Negative will always shine more so than positively, which is why it is important to balance that out. Balance is the key in life. Something I work really hard to do. It's something that a lot of us work really hard to achieve. Finding that balance, finding that proportionality, being able to find new and exciting information out there. It allowed the world to connect, and we as a result have grown together as one, closer because of social media, because it eliminates the distance between us.
All right.
Nice. Okay.
Interesting counter argument. And so I'll begin, and then Jordan will end, okay?
Yes.
Here we go.
As this should be.
All right, so you said we are more connected. Social media has worked to connect us. Well, that's not true, because the internet has connected us. Social media is not inherent to the internet, but the internet is the inherent part that connects us all. Okay? You could be emailing people in China. You don't need social media for that. You could be Skyping people in China. You don't need social media for that. Okay? People are becoming depressed because of social media. They're not being depressed because of the internet specifically. Social media sucks. Boom. Dang it. Done.
All right, this is easy. Save the best for last.
Oh, no.
We got
All right.
this.
You ready,
Stay at
Jordan?
home, Jordan.
I'm ready whenever.
Let's go.
All right, so like Cyanide said, all good things in moderation. Whenever people have their lives ruined by social media, or a lot of the examples you used, it's because people obsess with it and base every aspect of their lives around it. But it's such an amazing tool that's brought so many great things into a lot of our lives. I've made a ton of great friends that have similar interests to me that I never would have found if not for social media. You know, I think there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they might not live with but 20 people near them.
That was the end of your argument. All right.
I didn't end on a good note, but I still think I made my point.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, you did, but that's okay. So let us know in the chat or in the comments who is the master debater and why it's me and Brandon.
Yep.
I'm the master debater
This
here.
mastering
all right?
is debating in the bag.
That's a lot of debate there. But
Debate
you know, one thing we
to
cannot
catch the
debate
fish.
is that I have another delicious game for us today, boys.
Oh.
This is the final game, and then I think we'll be wrapping her up. But
All
guess
right.
what? It is a classic game that we've played here before.
Ooh.
It is none other than quick quizzical quotes.
Well,
So basically, I have this a little different, okay? So usually how we do it is I'm going to give you a quote from an anime character / anime, and you're going to have to guess what it is, right? But
no.
this time around, I'm going to give you a multiple choice. So you actually have a chance. Unlike
Oh,
other
good.
times. So I'm going to give you 2 to 3 possible anime or manga that these are from, and you're going to have to guess.
This is gonna
And,
go terribly
you know,
for me because I know the
I will.
obscure. And anything mainstream, I'm like, whoa, I'm a fish out of water.
oh, good.
I'm ready.
Well, the question I want to ask you guys is, would you all like to work together, or would you like to go against each other?
Let's
I'm down to work together.
Let's
I don't care.
cooperate.
Either way.
Cooperation. That's what this is all about. Okay,
Wait,
so I have.
wait.
What's up?
Wait, are we doing like teams, or are we like?
No, it'll just be you
No,
three.
Brandon knows
Oh,
the
well.
answer, so I mean,
So you
I
guys
just came
can,
up with them, but
Yeah, and we'd win. Because you'd say, hey, it's this. I'd be like, no, it's not, and then you could pick a different
you know
one,
what we can
and we'd
do
get it
while
right.
we discuss
So-
this stuff? We can have some of that Nestle Toll House edible cookie dough that gave me an ad on Twitter. Boom! I posted it in the Discord. Check that out.
Yeah, well,
edible cookie
that argument
dough
wasn't about cookie dough. It was about chewy cookies.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Not
but I
the same.
mentioned cookie dough, and it heard that, and now
Yeah, but if
everybody's
it's-
always
Well,
listening in.
thanks.
Yeah, but if
Trump.
it's gross,
Trump.
it's rock solid.
Thanks, Trump.
What? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So,
guess what?
anyways, yes, you guys are working together. So basically, you get a point if you get it right. You don't get any points, and I call you dumb if you get it wrong. That's how
Okay.
this is gonna work.
Let's get this,
How could
boys.
this
I
happened
got,
to
I
me?
think 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7. All right. So I'm gonna start off very easy. Okay. Get possibly progressively harder. We'll see about that. But here is the quote. Whoa. Is that from Pokemon or Digimon?
I don't want to talk to you.
I'm gonna need you guys to. Okay, well, you can talk to me through these two. You don't have to do
Yeah.
it directly. If that makes you feel better.
Wait,
I'm
what was the
I'm
quote?
pretty sure it's been in both.
Whoa.
Whoa, that's definitely been in both. There's no
Okay.
way.
Whoa! Exclamation point. To be specific.
Okay, is the explanation point critical? Is it like the trademark or?
Well, it wasn't.
Yeah,
but-
the trainer saw their eyes and exclamation point and said, "Whoa!"
Well, it's just whoa with an exclamation point.
I know
at
this
the
one.
end of
This is
it,
pretty
so-
easy.
oh,
I mean,
okay.
I mean, obviously it could be from both. It probably is from both at one point
There's
in
no
time
way
or
it's
another.
not.
But the specific quote that he's thinking of is obviously has to do with Pokemon because Ash learns new things that he should have already known like every other episode. So like,
And he goes, "Whoa."
obviously every single time he's like, whoa, is that a Pidgey? Oh my god, I haven't seen a Pidgey in like 5 years, even though I'm still 10. Like, so yeah, obviously it's Pokemon, right? Right?
Well, you guys are gonna have to decide that together.
I mean, if
so-
Do we have to
Jordan
crap.
sounds
with
pretty
the character
confident,
name,
you know.
too?
Nope, just
Oh,
I'm giving you
bless.
just the possible. Like I said, I'm gonna make it easy mode. But if you get it wrong, I'm gonna call you dumb. So
Okay,
that's
so
the consequence.
Let me run my logic of knowing Brandon and being his co-host. I feel like he picked Digimon because Jordan's been playing that recently. And I know you could have that logic for me and Pokemon, but I don't
you've been
think
playing Pokemon recently.
But he doesn't
so.
care about me. He likes you,
Oh.
Jordan.
It's dangerous.
Okay, now with that logic, I'm definitely sure it's Pokemon. Like,
All right,
Okay.
whatever you have.
Doubly
I
sure.
trust you, Jordan. Okay.
So is that what you guys going with?
Let's do it.
You
I
all
mean,
agree?
100% sure. You
100.
guys.
100% Yep, I agree.
sure.
For Pokemon?
Yeah.
Roll the dice.
Well, you're dumb. It's Digimon.
I
Oh.
knew it.
Yep.
All right. Well,
I can't say that's why I necessarily chose it, but
You know, what, I'm
Yeah,
just
you
not gonna
guys
answer
were wrong.
anymore from now on. I'm sorry, team.
dumb.
This is so sad.
Call him the
Dumb.
everything.
I just
Okay.
died off
Damn
the drop.
it!
Not a single point. That
Great.
sucks. Okay, let's
I
move
died
on
off
to
the
number
drop.
2.
Oh, wait, no, wait. Where is that quote from in Digimon? What episode? What
It's from the
series? I need to know.
manga.
Oh, good.
The
There's a manga?
Okay, now
Yeah,
you're
fake
using
fan.
the adapted material as opposed to the source.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original was the anime, right? And then they eventually made
Well-
a manga out of it. So
I mean, I never
Yeah.
said which. I said anime or manga in the beginning.
Okay,
so
you
can't
did.
say that like I was wrong, but
Yeah, he did.
that is what it's from, and you guys are dumb. Okay, moving on to
Alright.
number 2. Would you look at that? They say I'm spawned from Satan's ballsack. Ha ha. Is this from Devilman or One Punch Man?
Well, I've never seen Devilman, so I feel like it has to be One Punch Man.
Well, there are some that I cannot say either of you or any of you possibly have seen or read.
Oh, good.
So that's why I'm giving you multiple choice as well to make it extra hard.
That's
I'm
really
thinking with 3 of
helpful.
you together, maybe one of you will know.
Well, I mean, Devilman has received numerous incarnations as well, so...
I'm
It
just gonna
has.
shut up now. I already screwed this up a little bit.
Do you need me to read the quote again?
Oh, sure. Please do. That'll
Yeah?
help a lot.
Okay. Would you look at that? They say I'm spawned from Satan's ballsack. Ha ha. Is that from Devilman or One Punch Man?
I'm still saying One Punch Man, but if either of you guys have an argument, I'd be willing to hear it.
I am no longer contributing. I've given up on life. I'm
Ooh.
dumb.
It's been a while
I'm
since
stupid.
I've consumed anything with Devilman, so I can't definitively say, but I mean, the laugh at the end kind of leads me
Ha-ha.
to the same direction you're going in, Evan.
All right, we're gonna lock in. Final answer: One Punch Man.
Sure.
And you guys are dumb! It's Devilman. You
What?
guys are dumb again.
Cool.
I thought that was a dead giveaway. It said Satan's ballsack.
Well, I've never
the
seen
devil
it.
can also be called Satan. I basically gave it to you on a silver platter.
Well, that's what I
I'm
thought was a
disappointed.
trick part. Like, I thought that was a bait.
Well, maybe I'll trick you later. Maybe this
Okay,
wasn't that
'cause
time.
I
Oh, there's
presume you
more,
were
sweet.
baiting us in with that, because it's like, there's no way that's so obvious, and it just...
That's all I got to say.
Well played.
Oh, is that the next quote?
Nope. The next quote is this. It takes 2 women to break apart 2 men. Is this from Neon Genesis Evangelion or Gurren Lagann?
I haven't seen either of those, so you guys better figure this one out.
What was the quote again?
It is. It takes 2 women to break apart 2 men. Neon Genesis or Gurren Lagann?
It doesn't
Please
sound
discuss.
like a Gurren Lagann quote, or at least I can't think of what part it'd be from.
I mean, the last time I watched both these
Cyanide?
shows was over a decade ago. So,
Oh man,
it's
I love
been,
Gurren
it's been a
Lagann, but
while,
I've never seen.
so...
Wow.
I've
bunch
never
of
seen
fake
Neon
fans.
Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, I've never seen either of them, so you guys better figure this out.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with
Well,
Neon Genesis.
I'm gonna say
then, if
You got a
guys
50-50
are
chance.
Agree with it,
Me
just because I
too.
haven't seen it.
I think it's that too.
Is that what you guys want to go with?
I don't know.
Make
it's
it
up to you
happen,
guys. I've
Spooks.
already been called stupid
Are we
once.
dumb?
I've lost.
Me too. I
Get
also
it.
got called stupid.
So you say for Evangelion, correct? That's what you guys are going with?
Is that what we're going with?
I'm nervous
What?
to say yeah.
Like, I need
because
a
don't
final
wanna get
answer.
You know what,
called
let's
dumb.
do it.
I already
lock it
accepted
in.
the fact that I'm dumb.
Put down that
All right,
buzzer.
locked in. You guys are not dumb. You're correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck yeah.
All right, I'm only halfway dumb. Okay.
Yeah.
We got
1
one.
point.
Well,
Woo,
Cyanide's
yeah.
not dumb. Me and you are, though, Jordan.
You guys got 1
that's fair.
point. Woo, yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next one. We have the quote. I brought tequila. Can I pass? Question mark. Is this from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or The Drops of God?
I feel like there's no way that's JoJo's.
I mean, you guys have to figure this out. I have no way to tell you if you're right or wrong. I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think I'm about to send over a picture where they said "Whoa" in Pokemon.
Well, that's not the quote I
Jordan,
took it
please.
from. So,
Oh, did you find actual factual information to back up that we in fact got
Ooh,
it
are we
right?
gonna get a point? Oh,
I don't know.
are
I
we
just,
gonna
I just googled it real quick. And,
Even
yeah.
so?
it's from the games, but still.
He does
It's-
say
it's like-
whoa.
okay,
There's
but
so many
that's a
examples.
full quote.
There's
The
so
quote
many
I took it
examples.
from, the only thing they said is "whoa." They said nothing else after.
That is
Yeah.
whoa exclamation
So, that's
point though.
Yeah, the word,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
see
not
like
the
10
full
different
quote.
examples. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna need an answer for this one, please.
I
Do you
don't
need me to-
know.
Do you need me to
Someone
reread
else
it?
Go. Yeah, please
All right.
do.
All right, it's I brought tequila. Can I pass? Question mark. Is it from JoJo's or The Drops of God?
Do we have like a?
I
part,
heard a
or
pin
is-
drop, guys. What
Do we have
Drops
a
of God,
part?
dude. Easy. It's that manga about like wine tasting and stuff, right?
Well, tequila sharing.
Yeah. So I think it's Drops of God. It's not from whatever the other show he said was.
The other.
The other show. Oh my.
Oh. Well,
Jordan
I will
Joe
need a
starts
final
making
answer
people
soon.
mad.
Like, I'll obviously give you guys plenty of time to.
I couldn't remember
Debate
what
amongst
he
yourself.
said, but
He said
Is
JoJo.
it
Yeah,
JoJo's?
I
or
know it's not
Drop-
from
I've never
JoJo's.
seen Drops of God, so I'm gonna go.
if it is JoJo's, it's past part 5, and it's not. I'm not past part 5.
I would be floored if it was past part 5.
Yeah, that's just not fair if it is. So I'm going with.
Yeah, but I haven't seen Drops of God, so.
I haven't either.
Oh,
but
good.
It has to be in there.
All right,
Has to be in there.
I'm putting my faith in Jordan.
I'm one of 2.
That's a better record than me.
1 out
So
of 2
what's the
ain't
final
bad.
answer here, boys?
Drops of God.
what do you
Locking
think,
it in.
Cyanide?
100% unless
Oh,
Cyanide
he
said
locked
otherwise.
it in.
Oh, sweet.
Unless
Okay.
Cyanide says otherwise.
If he's locked it in, he's locked it in. Roll the dice.
Great.
Oh.
Well, y'all are dumb.
What?
It's from JoJo's. It's
What
when
part?
Joseph cross dresses. To be specific.
Oh.
Jordan.
Down in Mexico.
Fake. You know, you call yourself Jordan Joestar.
Is that what he-
is that what he
Or like
said?
Jordan Big Dumb.
Is that what he said though?
Yeah, I looked it up. I got this directly from the source material.
Oh no.
Yes. Oh man, guys, I'm really upset right now. You know, you guys have like practically a 50-50 chance, and it's like wrong
And we have
every
less
time.
than 50% of the
I'm one of 3. That's not bad. It's-
Well, now it's gonna get harder because now there's 3 options for the last couple.
Awesome.
So I hope you're ready for that.
Is there only one answer to all these?
Yes, only one answer.
Okay.
But you have 3 potentials, so now it's up to a 33.33 repeating percent
Great.
chance to get it right. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the quote right now. What is this? Question mark. The ground is meat? Question mark, exclamation point. I will repeat.
Okay.
What is this? The ground is meat? Is this from One Piece, Toriko, or Dragon Ball?
Oh, you have 3 here now. Okay.
Yes, 3 now. Yes. Yep. Get hard mode.
Sounds
I
like
gave
a
you guys
Toriko
easy
quote.
mode before.
I haven't seen Toriko or read it.
Toriko is
See,
food-based, so...
I've
not
never
food.
heard of Toriko.
But maybe he just threw that in there to throw us off. Who knows?
So
Not me. I'm one of 3.
Let me use my English degree here to its fullest potential. Because to me, this sounds like someone who's never seen ground meat, like ground beef, and describing that. So,
I mean,
I don't have an
Go for
answer,
it.
but that's what I think it means. What were they?
oh, either that or Luffy is very
See, that's...
meat oriented. So like he might think anything is meat.
I'm
Like,
kind
So,
of drawn
once
to
again-
One Piece, too, yeah.
I don't
it's
know.
between One Piece,
Toriko.
Toriko, or Dragon Ball.
I
Those
kind
are
of want
your
to go with One
options.
Piece. I don't. But
I kind of
I'm
like
also
One
one of
Piece,
3.
too.
I don't know. What do you think,
Well,
Cyanide?
yeah, Cyanide, you're a little quiet here. What do you
Yeah,
think?
what do you got?
Well, I'm leaning
do you know that we
towards
don't?
Toriko. I gotta say.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm willing to go with Toriko, but I just feel like Spooks has been a trickster. But maybe
See,
he's
that's
not.
the thing. That at the
100%
same
a
time,
trickster.
he also gave us the dead giveaway as well too. So.
This is what the games
I'm
are
also
designed
at the
for.
same time, Cyanide. We've already confirmed twice now that I am in fact dumb. So I don't know why you're arguing with me.
Actually, 3 times I've called you guys dumb, but that's beside the point.
I'd be-
Yeah, I didn't contribute one time.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't One Piece, but if you think it's Toriko and Toriko's food based, I trust you, Cyanide.
I'm down for Toriko. Let's do
I
it,
trust
Cyanide.
you.
I trust you.
Locking in?
Locking in.
Well, y'all are not dumb. It is Toriko.
Blast
Attaboy,
Cyanide.
Cyanide.
And the ground was literally meat.
Okay, good.
Just to, make sure the clarification is there.
Frick.
Hey.
Okay, wow, congratulations, guys. That's your 2nd point. All right, I'm
Oh,
very
you don't
proud.
have to say it so condescendingly.
Good job, team.
Hey, Cyanide pulled through right there. You guys almost locked in One Piece, and he was thinking, like, God, these guys over here, I don't want to be called dumb again. I got to speak up. And look what happened. It worked out. So, we're going
Cyanide,
to move
speak
right
up
on
more
to the
often.
next quote. I hope you're ready.
Okay.
I'm still half asleep, but I don't see why I can't take out that whole ship. Is this from Berserk, Gundam Wing, or One Piece once again?
What's the quote?
The quote is, I'm still half asleep, but I don't see why I can't take out that whole ship.
It sounds like a Zoro quote. but I
Yeah,
don't
can you
remember him ever
can you
saying
read
it.
that again, please?
I'm still half asleep, but I don't see why I can't take out that whole ship. Berserk,
Can you read it one more
Gundam
time?
Wing, or One Piece.
I don't think it's
Can you
At
just
Berserk.
this
one more
Can
point,
you
you
read it
can
one
just
more
turn on
time,
your...
please?
No, you guys can look it on your stream. I think you got it.
Oh, you put it up on screen? I didn't even know that.
No, I didn't. I was
Oh,
saying you
good.
can listen back. Turn your volume up. You can listen to it. I've said it like 4 times. You got it. At
I
this
think
point,
it's
you're in the
Zoro,
dark.
Too. I don't.
I haven't
think-
seen Gundam Wing.
I don't think it's Gundam.
Sounds like something Zoro would say, but I don't.
I'm pretty confident it's
remember him
not
saying it.
Berserk, but it could be, I guess.
I don't remember it being in Berserk either. But
I've read Berserk relatively recently, and I don't remember that. But
okay, it would have had to been on like the boat arc, I think. If
Yeah.
because I can't think of any
Uh-huh.
other time where there's ships.
Well,
I don't
the
think
thing
so.
I feel like One Piece
too
is a safe
with
bet,
Gundam Wing, they're spaceships as
Oh.
well.
yeah.
Oh,
so,
that's fair.
But Guts can't sleep.
I was
so
gonna,
don't-
I haven't
I was gonna
seen
say
Gundam
like that. That sounds like it could be, but I mean, it's been ages since I've seen Gundam Wing, and it's so I don't know. It's like it's a toss up between One Piece.
If you
or
guys
Gundam
want to go
Wing.
with Gundam Wing, I'm down for it because I haven't seen it. So it
haven't
doesn't sound
seen
like
it
a
either.
One Piece quote, and I've seen.
But I
One
could
Piece
see. I
so
could
many
see it
times.
being Zoro, though. You're right.
It sounds like something Zoro would say, which might have been why I threw it in there, but I can't remember Zoro ever saying that. I remember him actually falling asleep on a boat, but like, and then destroying it. But I don't remember him ever like saying that he can't destroy a boat just because he's asleep.
I just feel like I'd be shocked if he didn't pick a One Piece quote. Like not one Piece quote throughout all of this.
that's
Gentlemen,
fair.
go with your gut. I trust you.
All right, One Piece, locking it in.
You guys are dumb. It's actually from Berserk.
No,
Was
it's
Berserk,
not.
okay.
It is. It's Guts.
What?
He's waking up and he is on the ship. So, yep. He was going to take out a whole ship.
Okay.
He said that out loud.
Well,
You
Y'all
know,
are
we're
dumb.
so confident.
All right.
I like how
feel-
that was the one you guys said
I
no
feel
to
dumber
immediately.
about. I feel okay with that because there's no way
I've
I
heard
ever
Berserk
thought that was
forever.
Berserk. That one I'm more okay with being dumb about.
Well, we're now on to our final quote. I'm glad you
Oh,
guys are having the
shoot,
best
that's
time of
really
your life right now.
disappointing.
Yeah, it really is. It is. It really is. Anyways, so the quote here, the final quote, in fact, is, "Yeah, but can you do something about that since you've got breasts and all?" And then we move over to another character, and they say, "Look, I have breasts, but do you really not understand how they work? Breasts can't produce milk unless I've had a baby." And then the other character who originally said the first line has a shocked face. Is this from Vinland Saga, Vagabond, or Lone Wolf and Cub?
I think that's a Vinland Saga quote, isn't it?
I haven't seen any of those, so I'm no
It sounds
help.
like a Vinland Saga quote. Because they get that baby. Oh, wait, no, it's like... Actually, that would be past the anime, wouldn't it? So, maybe not. Maybe is he assuming that we've read Vinland Saga and he's like taking it from...
Well, I haven't read any of these, so I don't think he's assuming that you guys have read them either.
I think it's a Vinland Saga thing, but I don't remember the other series.
Jordan, I'm
so-
down.
Yeah, I don't remember the other series.
You make
he
that
said
happen.
either.
Well, it's from Vinland Saga, Vagabond, or Lone Wolf and Cub.
I haven't read either of the other two,
I think
but it
it's
sounds
One
like a
Piece.
Vinland Saga thing. I think I kind of remember the part where it happened.
Okay, I trust Jordan. Cyanide, what do you have
Do
to
you
say?
trust me? That's a
Always
very
trust Jordan.
questionable decision.
Let Jordan
always trust Jordan.
be in the driver's seat.
Jordan's
I am
never
now
an alien.
very much questioning you guys' decision-making skills.
Jordan,
and
you're
you
never
said
an
put
alien.
trust
You're
in.
good.
You guys locking something in?
Vinland Saga, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
locking it in.
All right. Well, Jordan has officially made you guys not dumb. It's Vinland Saga.
Heck
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
Let's go.
Actually,
It is
remember
also
that part.
from the manga, in a further ahead of the anime
Yeah.
part. So,
It
congratulations, you guys got a total of 3 out of 4. I mean,
That's
it's kind of a
right.
failing grade, but that's almost half.
3 out of 4?
Almost. Oh, I'm sorry. You had 3 right, 4 wrong. So 3 out of
Oh.
7. I said that wrong. It was my brain.
No, why do you correct him, Evan?
yeah, we got 3 out of 4.
So you guys
He has
almost
to go
got
by,
half.
He has to go by
You guys almost
3
got
out of 4.
Well, guess
Sorry,
what? There
team.
was not a One Piece quote, Evan.
Well, how
I
about you
tricked
guess what?
No, I really won't. All right, there's 2 people in here that
I've
have
fallen for
fallen
chicken
victim
butt.
to such a
Embarrassing.
Yeah,
I
it
say
couldn't be me.
3 out of 6 because that first one's questionable.
Yeah, the
I mean,
whoa
No,
was
it's
in
really
Pokemon.
not.
The entire quote's just whoa.
Okay,
That
you
could
could
be
argue
anything.
that word is in Pokemon in multiple different occasions, but what I took it from and what this quote is quoted from is from Digimon. So maybe
how
that's
are we
just a
supposed to know
trick.
that?
Because you're a Digimon fan, Jordan. That's why. But what I would say
I should
is
said
that
both.
when you quote something, you have to list what the quote is from. So I could say,
Yeah, but you
"Hey
didn't
guys,
tell
my
us
name
that.
is Blue12356,"
Uh,
and then I would just put by Too Spooky, right?
I
you
could also,
say that
like-
Evan said that because he probably
Yeah,
has.
but
But
I mean, I could also
I was the one
go-
who said it when I quoted.
I could also go, hey, like the quote is just, hey, H-E-Y, exclamation point. That's the quote. All right,
Well,
what's that from? Like,
I guess the general consensus I could say here is that unfortunately you guys are confirmed dumb, and
Damn
that's
it.
where we can end.
yeah, you got me there.
it's
I
alright.
didn't-
Brandon doesn't know his own video screenshots.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
That's
don't.
true.
unbelievable.
I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm just saying you guys are dumb. Sorry.
Got us there.
All
Got
right.
'em.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today. It's been great having both of you on. Thank you both for coming and dealing with us for a couple hours.
Hey, thank you for putting up with my rambling.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Sorry I suck eggs in the all the games
Don't
at the end.
even dare.
So be
We
sure
all
to
suck
check
eggs
out
sometimes.
both of our guests on Twitter. It is CyanideBlizzard and the Anime Dude on twitch.tv/CyanideBlizzard or /TheAnimeDudeYT, and on YouTube. Look up the Anime Dude, and CyanideBlizzard I think has the channel link CyanideBlizzard, or if not, that's his name. Go find
Yep.
it. It'll
All
be
links will be in the description.
Yeah, and if you've never listened to the American Sushi Podcast live, I believe they do so on Twitch on Friday nights over at twitch.tv/American_sushi.
Underscore gang.
Hey, and you can follow us on Twitter at Sushi Podcast or on Spotify under the American Sushi Podcast.
Or
There you
Apple
go.
Podcasts.
It's Apple
'cause we're there
Podcasts.
too.
Oh, hey, I
Hey,
have a review. Do you have a review
Oh, do
too?
you? I didn't look. But if we have one, you can spout it.
Yeah, this is also not an Apple Podcast review, but it's not in person. It's from Discord, and
Oh.
Simply Amanda said, "I've been catching up on American Sushi at work and currently losing it over this episode. It's way too funny." That's from episode 4. So thanks, Simply Amanda. You
Hey.
guys leave us a review somewhere. We'll find it, and we search our name all the time, so we'll read it. I'm just kidding. We don't
We
search
read
our name
everything.
ever. But
Every day.
if you put it somewhere on Apple or Google or something, we'll read it on the podcast. And we end these usually with a question. So today's my week for a question, and I have a very simple one that everyone can answer, especially our two guests. The question is, guess what? See you next week.
I refuse to answer this question.
See you next week.
It's natural selection.
It's natural.
Oh my god.